Hello and welcome to the round 10 of the SRL-100 season 2. We're at the Singapore GP today. My camera is so blurry. I can't get the autofocus settings set up, but who cares about that? Let's go straight into the standings before round 10. So, Struggs obviously has a huge lead in the Drivers' Championship, and it's very unlikely that Fade will catch up, but he can't quite confirm it this weekend. I think Japan may be the first place where he'll be able to confirm his win, especially as he won't be taking 25 points in the final race. Definitely, he won't be taking any points because he won't be racing, unless any of his plans change there. Fade is in second on 128 points, so his nearest challenger. OS Degrees in the battle for third place is going to be interesting towards the end of the season. OS Degrees with 90 points. AJS Inden, his Tango, coming up quickly, building a lot of form towards the end of the season. Can they reach OS Degrees? And Matusas is in 6th place. So, yeah, that looks interesting. The constructors, again, Williams are pretty dominant. They can actually win the race, win the constructors this weekend if they manage to outscore Ferrari by 32 points. It could be, 32 points, or is it 34? Can't quite remember. But Ferrari have 134 points. They're in danger of, they've got a bit of a lead there, but Alpine are looking racy. Aston Martin had a good weekend last weekend, and Red Bull certainly have a great driver package with AJS Inden and his Tango being full-time drivers in that seat. But let's jump into the actual qualifying for today's Grand Prix. So, if I go to the main scene commentary, we have a few reserve drivers in. I'll go over those once we get into the lobby. But we have 20 seats full around this Grand Prix circuit. Grand Prix racing in Singapore started in 1966, hosting race events. But the first Formula One Grand Prix here was in 2008 under the lights. A famous race with Nelson Piquet's crash gate, scandalising out of turn 13, I think it was. Crashing into the wall, and maybe just before the Singapore Sling that he crashed, and allowing Alonso to win, but found out it was a fix later on. Also, races like in 2013 where Sebastian Vettel qualified on pole without even going out. Well, he didn't do his final lap and just decided to stay in the pits and keep safe, and still got pole position. That's how dominant he was that year. And this year we had a great race. So hopefully a decent race today. Let's quickly jump on before we do anything and work out what the weather settings is going to be. So we run dynamic, of course, so I'll be able to see into this session and the next session what the weather settings are through a handy app that I've got. And it looks dry for the next 2 qualifying sessions. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through. But we have 18 minutes on the clock. And just to introduce myself, I'm Crablogger, the race director and commentator for the SRL. And before I forget, I'm just going to quickly drop a message into the Discord saying that we are live. I'm Crablogger, race director, commentator for the league. Have been since the start of season 2. As we start to see cars go out on the track, we'll make sure that our settings are correct. So we'll need telemetry and lap data up, certainly. And we have 16.5 minutes on the clock. It's going to be a long race tonight. It's going to be a very long race. We have the longest Grand Prix. I mean, today went to the limit, 2 hours plus 1 lap. I don't think that mechanic is quite in the game, but if there's any wet sessions, it could be a long one. 61 laps around here. Very stop-start. The length of the lap is 3.1 miles, and it's just a long one. Not hot in real life, not hot at the moment. Cooling, of course, for autumn. And we have probably the Williams out on at the front. Yep, so it's Struggs. Let's get the purple helmet in reference early. There we are, the purple helmet of Struggs winding through the lap, trying to build a bit of confidence. It really is a confidence circuit, this one. There's 23 turns as he comes through the final sector underneath the stadium, the grandstand, and a little bit too much curb there, but all good to warm the tyres up. Won't have done too much damage as he winds up and starts the lap, pushing all the way, use all of the track limits on the exit. And this is, of course, just needs to be a half decent lap, doesn't need to set the world on fire, but which, of course, Struggs likes to put in good lap times, likes to stamp his authority early on in the sessions, and doesn't want to go chasing a time. So it just needs to be good enough here to get through into Q2. Struggs, obviously a serial qualifier here. He's got 8 pole positions. Or is it 7? 7 or 8, I can't quite remember if you count the sprint races. And has the most pole positions in the league, leading by quite a long way. Has had his car on pole all the way, really pushing himself through the middle part of this lap, and you can see he's already on it, using every bit of the inside curb there, down into second gear. That's quite low as it goes over this old bridge into this tight hairpin left-hander of turn 13 and out into the middle DRS straight. There's 3 DRS straights on this track, start finish, from turn 5 to 7 and from 13 to 14, which we just went by. And he comes through and he's got a purple in the second sector, but he's the first person to set a time. A bonus of having the Williams is that it is right near the pit exit, so you don't have to spend long trundling through the pit, so you get that track time, and we start to see cars come through and set time. So let's see what the benchmark is from Struggs. The lap is valid all the way to the line, runs out a 1:37.9, so that's decent from Struggs. Fade is a 1:37.4, so that's a very good time from him. Vence is coming through the final sector here, through turn 22 and 23, the double left-hander, and that's a 1:38.8. He won't be delighted with that. AJ Sinden, he's coming over the line at 1:38.4. These times will be certainly good enough to you know, make him feel safe. But we have a Merc coming through the final few corners here. The Merc of Chonk pushing not too hard. I think this isn't a perfect lap for him. It's going to be a 1:40 something. He must have made a mistake. But we have a Haas just behind that. The Haas of George it was. I was desperately trying to find him, but couldn't find him. We have McLeod. He's coming in on the lap. Well, has he got a 1:41? So more time to be found there for him. We have more cars going aligned. Ostergree's up into 4th position with a 1:38. We have AJ Alpha Integral 2:09, so a bit of a slow lap there. Must have backed off. And we have Matusas. He's gone up into a 1:39.212. And IBN, what is he up to? He's just crossing the start-finish straight, but hasn't set a lap time, so it must have been validated. Geary on tour. He's coming through the final corners now. 1:05 middle sector. It's a 1:39.1, so that's good enough for 6 for now. But these times will start tumbling down. As we have, again, the Williams, they must be coming in. They will have set their times and be coming in. So the Williams, first 2 times we saw are 1 and 2. Who is on a lap? Let's go on board with IBM. Let's watch IBM. The Alpha Tauri driver coming up to the old Singapore sling. Turn 10. I say old because it's no longer got that sling configuration of the triple kind of curbing, which really caught out drivers. Kimi Räikkönen paying the price in 2008 and crashing into the wall. It comes through the middle sector, splits it, and it's a 1:06 something. 1:06.657. Preempting it there. A little bit later on the straight than I thought it would be. But it's a really technical final sector and so difficult to overtake around here. Fade's already retired. He says that's definitely enough for Q1, and you just saw IBN. He used way too much of that curb and invalidate. He needs to be staying off that curb because that curb is actually very easy to bottom the car out this year. Due to the lowness of the cars, the ground effect nature of these cars, you expect IBN to come into the pits, and he does. So not getting a lap time in there, but Alex Trent G is out on an out lap at the moment. So Unsure if he's going to be going again. Chonk, he's on a lap at the moment, so let's go to see how Chonk's doing. Maybe just coming back towards the pit, to be honest. But we have Alex Trent, G and Rugriff. Yeah, McClose into the pits. Chonk winding it up. There's a Haas also coming into the pits. That must be the Haas of Geary on tour. Just coming in for another another set of softs, maybe a bit more fuel. But Chonk is winding it up for another lap, so let's go on board with Chonk here as he aims to push and improve on his 141.196. Didn't have the greatest form in the SRL-50 race on Friday, and truth be told, ended up DNFing. Fence saying he's not confident here whatsoever. So Fence with a 138.888. It's I don't know. People describe it as not good on the controller. Obviously, Struggs and Fade are controller users and have a bit of pace here. But I would say it's also very difficult on a wheel. It's very taxing. You know, the left, the right, the up and down on the gears, the mental toil to keep that kind of input going. I think it's difficult for both controller types ultimately. But I certainly find it quite a difficult track to main focus, and every bit of race pace I've ever practiced here isn't trying to find extra time. It's actually just trying to keep it fast and consistent, and consistency more than fast, because you can rack up penalties. The track limits are oh so annoying. It's like out the exit of turn 14, this right-hander. You'll see there's a white line just next to that curbing. If you cross too far on the left there, that's a warning. And it's just little places like all over where you're just not really expecting to find a little too much extra time, and you get a warning for it. So it's all about consistency around here. So Fence saying I don't know how they're so fast. I think practice and skill, Fence. Well, we know you've got that, obviously. Winning the SRL-50 race a couple of weeks back. Rogue Trent saying I am stupid. Oh, he's crashed. Alex Trent G is out. What's happened to you, Alex? Having a crash. Geordie's on an outlap. Chonk did go up to 139 there, so did improve his time. Geordie on an outlap. Will be the next car to set a competitive lap time, I think. Struggs has also retired. Felt like a 137 is fast enough. Predicted pole time for me is a 136.8. Getting that in early because I said it after I actually sort of predicted pole time last week, and I'd actually guessed it right. 139 is the cutoff for this for P15. It could be 139. It could be a 139.5 or high 139 for cutoff for P15. So Rogue Trent say he missed a turn. Which turn? I completely missed that. You'd crashed out. There is a yellow in sector 2. That's the Haas going slowly. Returns to green racing. As we have Geordie starting his lap, going for the first sector, 27.881. Yet to put a lap time in. And a very, very tricky corner this one. Got to carry the speed around, get the car rotated and get back on the gas. Sounds like I'm explaining all corners, but around here it's particularly prudent to be carrying the speed through, really focusing on apex and exit speed. And it's a bit untidy through there, almost running wide at turn 12 before this straight away, and there's yellows all over the shop. I was going to say yes, yellow sector 1, 2 and 3. I thought it was a safety car for a second. Obviously not a safety car, but certainly improving on any time that Johnny set, because he set no time. But very untidy middle sector there, and not the best. I'm surprised he hasn't backed away from it if he believes he can get good pace, maybe just feeling like he needs to get a banker in and see where that is. Obviously 137s are quick around here. I find this track very difficult. I think the 138 is really my maximum around here. So you are seeing some really good lap times here. Not that I'm the benchmark for greatness, as we saw with me doing the old accidental brake check. And it's a 141.409, so only good enough for back of the set times there. IBN, he's had 2 disqualified laps, and he's in the middle part here. We have AJS Inden, he's coming around. Where do you go? He's just starting a lap, so we'll keep an eye on that. Fade saying loving the commentary. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. And AJS Inden just cuts the corner between 2 and 3 there and has invalidated his lap, so nice and early there he'll be able to back out and hopefully has a fuel for another lap there. Where's the webcam? the webcam is here, but there's 2 reasons I'm not showing it at the moment. One, because my placement of it blocks the bottom half of this scoreboard, the table, the tower, and that's the bit that's really important in this session. And 2, it's just so fucking blurry. Look, this is how good it's meant to be. Look how good it is when it's in my face. But let's not do that. So, yeah, I need to. There's a whole. Just don't. I'm going to say it, don't buy Logitech projects. I love the wheels, but this camera has shown me no end of grief. So I'll disable that for now, and we'll get back to the racing. And there is a Ferrari crashed out. It's Captain Rainbow Fox. He's currently sitting in 15th position, so enough to get through. Well, actually, better than 15th. It would have been 14th position. But there is a stricken Ferrari. The Scarlet Ferrari has crashed out after turn 13. Just before turn 13, over the bridge. Such a difficult traction zone. You really have to be shifting up early. And that'll be disappointing for him. Starting in the back here is a big disadvantage. But through the safety cars of the SRL, you don't have as many, you know, it's not as tricky as in real life where they're actually good drivers and can defend. Not slagging you all off. So, HS Inden, he's going for another lap here. IBN did get a lap time in 1:42.98. Joker in the pits, Gaz MC, substituting for Louis Rivest this weekend. He's on a lap, 105 middle sector, low 105, so this is going to be a half decent time. And he's got a lot of pace, Gaz MC, so we're excited to see his form in the league. 1:38.459, so that's good enough for 5th position. So certainly probably good enough to make the cut-off time with 2 cars already out of this session. And we have Rugriff in the drop zone. We have Geordie in the drop zone, McLeod in the drop zone. All those cars are out on track at the moment. Actually, Rugriff may be coming over to the line now to set a lap. It's 1:06.4, so not a super quick lap, and he's coming into the pits. Geordie, obviously, we watched his lap just then. McLeod is out on track, but it's a 1:22 middle sector, so obviously has made a mistake. Or maybe it's just an out lap. No, must be a hot lap because he's made a mistake. But lots of mistakes out there. Joker still in the pits, in the garage, yet to set a time. We'll have to get out there soon. I'll tell you how long is left as soon as the yellows in Sector 3 goes. But there's a very slow temp returning to the pits with a Red Bull right up his chuff. I think it was HS Inden. No, it would have been... It's so hard to tell the colours. It would have been a AlphaTauri. So perhaps it was IBN returning to the pit set. And it was, yep. As we have Geordie come round this final part of the lap. Is anyone actually on a lap at the moment? I don't think they are. Everyone is returning to the pits. Ganja might be on a lap. Let's get the skull and bob with him. No, he's not on a lap. Unless he's setting a really slow time. Joker's AI. Okay. Right. I don't understand why Joker is AI. I think he's struggling to get in. But maybe he's been kicked or unsure. But thanks for the info there, Eris. Joker is AI. It's a new album by Depeche Mode. So, Ganja is going for a lap. So we'll go on board through turns 1, 2 and 3. Again, trying to carry the speed up. Short shift upwards. Turn 4 and then line yourself up for turn 5. Try and use all of the track limits on the left. But don't run too far wide. It's one of those places that can cut you out. Down from 5. Through turn 6, try and cling to the wall all the way to the right. He's running too far left there, Ganja, and braking roughly at the 100 into turn 7. As we go through turn 8, the right-hander of turn 8 and the left-hander. Swing it out to the right, don't go too far because you'll cut the corner again. Get a warning and invalidation. As we come up to the old Singapore sling. We moved to curbing a few years ago. Try to stick as close as possible to that inside curbing. Saw Struggs use a lot of that curbing actually earlier. I don't know if that was by mistake or on purpose, but using a lot of that curbing, and more than I would do, but that probably means it's on purpose and it's a good thing to do. As he comes through the middle sector split, it's a 1:05.77, so a half decent lap, 2 tenths up on his personal best. Should be enough to get him through, certainly with the lap times we've seen. Quite a lot slower than I predicted it would be. As we come through this final part, sector turn 18, coming up this left-hander of the bay, as we just go underneath the grandstands for the right-hander of 19. Short shifting upwards all the way through 20 and 21. A little bit of looseness and lariness from Ganja there. as he comes through this double apex left-hander of 22 and 23, and he's going backwards over the line, and he's not improving his time. So he will have to go again, maybe, to try and get out of the way of cars coming through. Luckily, there was no one behind caught up in that. But Rugriff is coming to the line. Must be on an outlap, though, because that is a super slow time. And we'll go off board and watch the Aston Martin underneath the lights of Singapore. Must say, I think this game, this track looks absolutely like trash in this game. Especially in the daytime, which for whatever reason, time trial, you go into it and it always sets you at midday, and it's like, just put it at official, right? Put it at the official time. Every time I have to reload it in the menu and hit start official. Like, it's just so irking to see it in the day. Okay, it's fine for practice one, but not for anything else. So anyway, back up from my rant as we come through turn 7. I'm really bad with the track names. I think it must be turn 8. Really bad with the numbers around here because there are so many turns. Turn 9, Podang. And over the bridge where Fox obviously made his mistake. Nice and clean through there. We'll come to the middle sector timings and see how he's doing. People are getting about 105 low. 105's being good. 104's 105.5, so that's good. Showing a bit of track evolution. 608 minus 608 on his time, so this would certainly be enough to put him up into 12th position, and he's in the drop zone at the moment. Rugriff. Fox obviously there, dangerous in the drop zone. IBN also dangerous in the drop zone. I don't know if IBN has quit, but it's a validation for Rugriff, and he's out of the session. He is out of the session because there is no more time. So it's only McLeod here who can go faster, and he's only going faster by a tenth. So he'll need to find 3 tenths through this final sector, or it could be a bit of a sizzler here, and Rugriff going out, Geordie going out certainly. Can McLeod pull himself out of these bottom positions and knock down IBN? He can. He can. No, he can't. Sorry. I thought he had to worry about lap time. So yeah, okay, he can't. He's in 16th position. Rugriff is in 17th position for the Aston Martin. 18th position for Geordie. Joker is in 19th position. So, Alex Trent also at the bottom after crashing out early doors. So I will go quiet as soon as I can clip that. Chonk coming back into the pits. As soon as he's wheeled back in, we'll be saying see you later to qualifying 1. And bringing on the second qualifying session where we'll find out the top 10 for Q3. So we'll just make sure we go through all of this and make sure, crucially, we have that bottom 5 on camera. The 5 knocked out. Captain Rainbow Fox, he's out because he has crashed out. McLeod, he's out because he's not fast enough. So's Rugriff, so's Geordie, so's Joker, and so's Alex Trent G. Joker not setting a lap time, Alex Trent G not setting a lap time, and instead ploughing it into the wall. So, if I go into Race Director and quickly grab the drivers in here, and the instance, some drivers are already using 3 sets of softs out there. That's wild. That's a wild amount of softs to use. Obviously, fighting everything to get through. And let's clip that and go just a little bit quiet for a second. So, now we can bring the webcam back for what it's worth. The webcam can come back. There we are, because it's not cutting off the bottom of the table. And we only have 14 runners left, so only 4 can get knocked out in this session. It's the William boys out first, but let's go on board with Matusas, he must be in a quite good position here. He is. But there is a bit of jostling out the pit lane. Who is that? That must be Struggs, perhaps. Yes, Struggs right behind. Trying to get by his blue-coloured friend, let's say that. Blue and pink-coloured friend. There's two of them now. And jostling for position. But Matusas, let's go on board with him for his lap. He'll be one of the first cars to go over. There's also a Red Bull just behind, going through turn 7 and into turn 8. Obviously just warming up the tyres at the moment. Matusas coming through the Singapore sling. Chonk saying that his controller keeps disconnecting, which is suboptimal. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work that out. Anyone predicting who's going to be on pole? And is anyone predicting that it's not going to be Struggs? Because that's the more important question. Struggs has been lightning this year, really setting a new standard for league racing in the Syndicate Racing League. If you're new here, if you're just clicking along onto the stream somewhere from Twitch or friends linked to you or something like that, Discord links are in our socials. We run casual lobbies most nights. And this is one of 2 league races we do. This is the SRL-100, 8 PM BST every week on a Sunday, and of course on Friday we do a 8 PM BST race at SRL-50, 50% around the same track. And if you're interested in joining us, please click the socials below. Follow us if you're in the league or you haven't followed us already, or you want to see more of this content. I'm here to bring commentary of the SRL-100 every week. I also have another channel where I'll broadcast my view of the SRL-50 races that I compete in. Second place around here, very undeserved second place around here in the practice race we had this weekend, ready for the start of the new season soon. But we'll focus back on Matusas, who is going through the second sector now. Turn 8 and upwards to turn 9. Thanks for the follow. See, it does work. Che who? Che H? Che? I don't know how to say your name, but I appreciate the follow. So as we go through turn 13, well, turn 12 into 13, sorry, the left-hand hairpin before the end of the second sector, the DRS zone. That will take us to the end of the second sector. Let's get the lap data up so we can see how he's doing. And it's 1:04.981, so a good lap here, an improved lap compared to his time in Q1. And if you can keep this together, there's a yellow flag through sector 1. Oh, yeah, right, okay. Nice to see you, Killing Brigade. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the lobby, and hopefully you'll be able to get your clean driver tag soon and be able to get into the SRL races. Yeah, I'm here for the full race, 100% race coming up around here, and he just runs wide around there, but doesn't invalidate, and it's a 1:38.487 fade set, so only a 1:38.437. I say only, it's still a good lap. And Struggs a 1:37.157. That's why I said only. And controller just put Chonk in the wall. Who is controller, and why does he control you, Chonk? Damn, it's McLeod sending you faulty goods. Is that what you're saying? Because I'm pretty sure McLeod sent you that controller. And now you're saying, what's happened? Have you been playing too much MLB The Show? George, he goes in with a 1:39.508. And it's time to probably talk about the reserve drivers, actually. So we have George in for Kev, and Giri in for Wool. We have Gaz MC, he's in for Louis Revest. Who else do we have? Are the others out? Ganja, he's in for Skullable. And there's one more this week, I swear. And I've forgotten who it is. There's another person. But I don't think they're in this session, so they must have got knocked out in the first session. And because it was literally moments ago, I've completely forgotten who it was. So Geordie got knocked out, McLeod got knocked out, Trent G got knocked out, Fox crashed out, so it's not him. I can't remember, but there's someone else substituting. I'll come back to it later. I'm pretty sure there is. There may be just 4, but I think there's 5. But Ganja has a 1:40.890, which is only good enough for 9th place at the moment, so they'll have to improve on that. Chonk saying, nah, I think it was when I reset whatever that thing in the Blu-ray. Wasn't disconnecting till after I reset it. We reset that thing in the Blu-ray. It sounds like you've done some amateur amateur repair on your Blu-ray? I'm very confused, Chog. Not that you you know, you need much to do that to me, but I am confused. Skull also saying, welcome to chat, Skull. Time to break that controller now, too, Chog. So my teammate in the SRL-100, I'm very much looking forward to racing with Skull the Ball this season. The drawer full of excuses is getting full, man. Well, I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of excuses around here. It can't just be skill issue, right? So, anyone on outlap probably should be focusing on drivers who are setting lap times rather than drivers that aren't. Gibby on tour, he is not on a lap time, and neither is Gaz MC. So Fence, he's on an outlap. Let's go on board with him as he rounds the final corner to start his qualifying lap, and we watch him come in and barrel into turn 1, which turns into turn 2 and then turn 3. Around Monza that would be just one corner called a Sky, but around here it's 3 corners. Turn 4. The inconsistency of track corners really drives me mad. This is turn 5 already, do you know what I mean? There's only 7 total corners or 8 corners at bloody Monza, but there's already 5 in the first few meters. Yeah, it's crazy how many corners there are here. And that's turn 7 that Fence is going through. So setting an okay first sector, but Fence saying earlier in chat that he's struggling around here, using every bit of the runoff, so really trying to push a good time in here. Let's ride on board as he comes to the old Singapore sling. Uses a lot of that curbing on the inside, and down into 3rd gear, and back straight up to 4th. There's a lot of short shifting around this track to carry the traction through the corners, and it's really worthwhile, if you are slow around here, to just watch someone else's lap, watch someone with a good lap time. Watch how they're going down only to 3rd gears, which corners which feel like 2, and then they're straight away getting back on the power and up gears. Short shifting really is crucial around this track, as it is everywhere on this game, but especially this track, it's super crucial. This corner, for instance, this 18-19 left coming up, only down to 3rd, and then up to 4th. He goes up to 4th very early, but I always go up to 4th at that point there, and takes a little bit too much of that curbing. But this year it's very crucial to stay off some of these curbs because they do ground out the car. Very aggressive with turning, and that's a 1:38.471, so that's decent enough. 6th position that would be at the moment. IBN, his teammate, is going around the final set of corners, turn 22 and 23. And how can he do? It's a 1:39.401, so that's good enough for 9th position at the moment, but there are 3 quick cars yet to set a time. Alpha Integral, he's been a newcomer to the league this season, and put in some stunning performances. One of the few other drivers to actually have poled his car. I believe it was at Mexico. He poled his car. Australia, he had good pace, but didn't quite pull the session out. Didn't actually take part in the 2nd session, so I don't know what happened there. OS Degrees, obviously he's quick and can set a good lap time. A runner-up last year, and Mr. I'm going to call him Mr. Clean Driving. Watch him barrel into someone turn 1 and get a major penalty. He's yet to get a penalty in our league, despite racing in every single league race. Classified league race, points-giving league race. He's yet to get a penalty, so I know he was happy with that. Put that in the meme review. Does the meme reviews each week in the server. Watch out for that in the memes. And Chonk is yet to do anything. He's hasn't left the pits, or well, he did leave the pits. He got a bit of wing damage, so having that fixed at the moment. As Alpha Integral uses every bit of that runoff on the exit, and yeah, you kind of have to spend half the time watching the track map around here, making sure it doesn't all go red and disqualify him, because you really do have to push very hard, using every bit of the circuit on the right, scarily so, but judging it perfectly. Down into 3rd, back up to 4th, so you can have as much traction as possible over this tricky traction area, over the bridge, into the left-hander, hairpin almost, and into the DRS. We'll see where this is. 104 is a good middle sector, and it's a 104.747, so this could be good enough to get into 2nd position as things stand. AJ Sinden has a 1:37.874. I didn't see him put that in, but that is a quick time. Temp with a 1:38.197. I know Fade can go quicker than his 1:38.437. He'll be going around again, I'm sure. Maybe he'll be judging whether he needs to actually go out again, but being down. Oh, he has a 1:37.429. He's put one in as we're speaking. But Alpha Integral coming around. Where does this lap time put him? This puts him on a 1:37.874, so that's good enough for third place. Thanks, Rach. Cheers. Just my wife giving me some Stevie pills. So, Alpha Integral, it's just paracetamol, just to clarify. I'm not actually a druggie. Alpha Integral getting a 1:37.874 there. That's a good lap time. And it is OS Degrees. He must be out on a lap, going through this final set of corners into 18 and 19. Very narrow through here. Very slippery in the race today. Really hard to dry up because it goes underneath the grandstand. And this again difficult because it goes underneath the highway. And going through the final few corners. It's not going to set the world on fire this time, but a 1:38 something, a 1:38.512. So that's good enough for 9th. But he's dangerously near the drop zone. I'm sure Giri, IBN, George, Ganja certainly is out already. Chonk's on that out lap. And Ganja is on a lap at the moment as he comes through the second part. This final sector of this 23 turn 5 kilometre track. And there's a Williams getting out of the way there. Must be fade. AJ Sinton's retired in the pits. Decided he's done enough for 1:37.874. I did put the cut-off for this to be around a 1:38.4. So 1:38, 1:38.4, something like that. So we'll see how much that comes true. But this is a 1:39.233, so that's not enough. He'll have to go again. It's a big improvement on his time, but still not enough. Only good enough for 11th position. And OS Degrees is in danger. Giri on tour is on the bubble. Matusas also on danger. He's on the outlap. But Giri on tour and Matusas, they are on outlaps. OS Degrees has set his fastest time. And I think, I'm not sure if OS Degrees is pushing again, but he's certainly not charging his battery massively. So he does look like he's charging battery. So maybe he's going to go around for one more time. But we have Ganja. He won't get another lap in because this... this will be his lap, I believe, as soon as those sector 1 and 2s go. 209, so we'll have time to get round and charge and go a bit slowly, but I don't know. Yeah, hopefully Chonk's controller doesn't self-destruct. Let's watch Chonk's controller. He does seem to be driving very bizarrely. I think he's warming up his tyres, but I think he's also cooling them down because he's driving so slowly. And he has a Haas right behind, also going quite slowly, warming his tyres. That must be Giri on tour, and Giri on tour decides, sod this, I'm coming through. No, it is Giri on tour for sure. Who, as he comes through this final sector, 6-minute outlap. That must be an outlap. So yeah, right, okay. But we'll go on board with Chonk and see. We'll give him all of the benefit of doubt. Will Chonkers controller? That's what will Chonk's controller self-destruct on this lap? Stay tuned over the next minute and a half to find out. As he comes into turn 1, he uses a lot of that curb and sticks into 4th gear, into 2nd, up to 3rd and 4th quite quickly. As he come to turn 5, this right-hander, you have to really maximise the exit speed because it's a long straight. It's your best overtaking opportunity during the race. As he comes into turn 7, he's doing okay. I tell you what, I'm going to come back. No, I do want to watch Chonk. I'll just flick away when the cars in front are coming round because Matusas is about to come over the line and set a time. So we'll flick to him as soon as he's coming around the final few corners, just to see where he can go. We also have IBN going around the final few corners too. And Chonk looks okay this lap so far. It looks okay, but let's go on board with Matusas and see how he's doing. And it's only a marginal grip improvement, but it is an improvement. It goes up into 5th position, so he seems safe. IBN, has he done enough? He's just going out on a lap now, surely, because that was a 3-minute lap apparently. So just going out on the laps, surely. Giri on tour, coming through turn 18 and 19. Still desperate to know if Chonk's controller is still functioning. He certainly seems to be on the track. Using a bit too much curbs on the left to Giri. That compromises his exit as he bottoms out and uses so much curbing. He disqualifies on that final corner. And Chonk, is he going to come through and knock Giri on tour straight out? He is. The 1-2 punch. Giri disqualifies. Probably had a lap time improvement there. Could have knocked out OS Degrees there, but did not. IBN is now the car to watch. George is also a car to watch. He's +3 tenths on his time. And truth be told, it's quite hard. He's new to his wheel, maybe finding it a bit difficult at the moment. It's certainly a difficult track, and it looks like he's coming straight into the pits, knows that his lap time is not where it needs to be. And there seems to have been an incident there. There's a Alpine getting out of the way at a bad position. I think it's cost IBM a little bit. He's got 3/10 of improvements. That is not enough. He needs nearly a second to go into the top 10 shootout there. And I think there was just an Alpine just getting out in a way in an inopportune moment at the run down to turn 13 after the bridge. And indecision through to turn 18 and turn 19. And I just don't know if IBN's going to have the lap time to pull out anything here. Could still go up a couple of places, so worth putting it in. But he needs to find quite a lot at the end here to knock OS Degrees out. And I don't think he's done enough. He hasn't. By 2/10 of a second, he hasn't done enough. Starting in 11th position used to be quite a good place to start in previous games. Makes no difference now with the soft medium starting your tyre Q2 requirement removed. And I'll just disable my webcam and we will get the results of this session on camera. Just in case there's a ready up rule infraction, this is why we do that. Giri on tour, Harry Fabian, linking the dots for people that don't know. He's saying so dumb, but my time wouldn't have been enough anyway, which is fair enough. Why is this black screening? Is that just me, or is that other people? Anyone in the game, have you black screened, or is it just me? Answers on a postcard. Giri, you've just commented, and you're in the game. Have you black screened? Yes. Oh, so I missed out who actually dropped out there, but I can. I've not got a black screen. Right. Okay. So I'll just clip whatever just happened, and hopefully I'll have who's the bottom 5 is in my buffer. So I do have that just in my buffer, thankfully. Hopefully there's no black screen. But let's go on board. Who's the first car out? It's Fence. Fence is the first car out. Hasn't had a lot of pace here. AJ Sinden, he's in 4th. Well, no, he's not in 4th, but he's 5th car on the road. Let's turn the webcam back on. As we come to the first run, probably the first run of 2 for our drivers out there. Fence has left the session. Name me a more iconic duo, Fence and disconnecting from the races. But let's go on board with AJ Sinden, the Red Bull driver, wearing a special Singapore helmet this weekend. Although he wears a special helmet this weekend, so is it special or is it just more the same? Very much turned into a bit of a Vettel, Red Bull era Vettel, where he changes helmet every week. But red and white flashes. It would also work well for the Japan next weekend. Obviously following the real world calendar, we'll be running around Suzuka. Very excited for that. What a great track. One of the best tracks. But we're at Singapore. 23 turns to negotiate and to set a good lap time. AJ Sinden, he's been consistently top 5 this year. Some tracks he's had real pace, some tracks a little bit further back, but still, if he's finished, he has got good results. Podiums or bust, more or less, except from last weekend. As he comes around the final corner, cuts the timing beam. Let's make sure that both telemetries are on, so we have a full view of his lap. And I know he can get a 1:36.9 in time trial, AJ Sinden, which would be good enough for pole. The S's curbs at Suzuka is like pure ice. Still a great track there. Oh, I just love it. I just love it. curbs aren't as bad this year as they were last year, but last year I just had this rhythm through those S's, so I could watch everyone spin out. I could qualify wherever I wanted, watch them all spin out lap 1 and take the position. But AJ Sinden, he's going through the first sector. He's finished the first sector, into the second sector now, coming up to the straight before the old sling. Watch out for the barrier on the right, but get as close as you dare, and not using as much of the curbing as other drivers. A very, very conservative line through 12 and 11, and excellent out of turn 13. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing the Suzuka podium, and not as good as it this year than last year. Not as good as it last year, but still, it is just a great track. It's a total concentration track, and so difficult to overtake. You have to be losing it to try something into the S's, and basically just 130R and into turn 1, but still difficult overtaking opportunities as it is around here. 136.928 from Struggs, 138 from Matusas, 137.806 from Fade. But as we come around the final corner, it's a 137.335 from AJ Sinden, so a good time there. A very, very good time there, bringing his best form out. Only 4 attempts away from his PB. And that's a great time. Struggs, a 136.928 into the 36s. So he just needs to get one more attempt, and my prediction is a lot better. So go out one more time, Struggs. Get that extra attempt. Or maybe AJ Sinden will get the 137 at 136.8. We have Earth Degrees, a 137.9. Matusas, a 138. Gaz MC, a 138.111. Chonk's got a 140. So, more controller issue there, Chonk, or are you going to admit it's a skill issue? Or yeah, so he's not got the best weekend so far, but he's through to the top 10, so still decent. Alpha Integral in the pin to temp. He's coming around the final corner. A 157.208. Must have had a mistake somewhere out there, because that is a slow lap time. As he comes through, and he's used half a charge of hot lap, so I don't know if he'll push again or whether he'll just take it easy and come back in the pits, but we'll keep an eye on him either way, as he'll be the only one who possibly could do something until we have Fence and Alpha Integral leave the pits. Fence obviously the first car out, but disconnected, rejoined. His AI had gone into the pits. Alpha Integral yet to set a lap time, and it says purple sector through the first, but I don't believe that'll be his personal best, because this game is a glitchy mess at the best of times. And using turn 10, oh, just backing out of that one though. Backing out of that one, not sure quite what happened there. Fence has rejoined the session once again, and hopefully he can get back in control of that, because his disconnect really can be quite dangerous at starts. Skull said nice lap AJ, but 136 on Struggs. Wow, it is, yeah, unbelievable pace. Unbelievable pace around here. And Temp used up a lot of his time here, but I think Chonk's gone over the line again. I don't know if he's actually improved his time now, and he's certainly got out the way of the Aston Martin of Gaz MC, who can go faster than a 138.111. He'll have time to get back to the pits and put a new pair of softs on. But he certainly isn't. Yeah, he certainly isn't, you know, setting the world quite on fire as I expect him to. I know he can get into 137s, so he will be faster than that. Just about getting that lap time in, and I don't think this is a hot lap right now. I think this is his in lap, if anything. We have Tempe in the pits. Is that Tempe being wheeled back in? I use one set of tests, but I use one set of soft, but 2 sets of what? Is this like a year 7 maths puzzle? I don't know. I don't know, Fence. Maybe it just bolted on a new one and you didn't realise. As I said, game's gone glitch. So Gaz MC, he'll be coming back into the pits. And we have one final run for all of our runners left. 4 minutes 12. You need to be leaving the pits for about 2 minutes 30 to 2 minutes to get a lap time in. But he is going over the line again. So I don't know if he's just run out of tyres or he doesn't improve. Is he an AI and just running out there? If he is an AI, someone let me. But yeah, let me know. But yeah, anyway, I don't know why he's staying out there because he should pit, but I think it's like an AI logic thing here. We have Fade. He has got a 1:37.806. I'll be hoping to improve that. AJ Sinden. No, it's Alpha Integral. He's finally coming out of the pits just to do one lap right at the end. And he's looking for that clean air. And Rugriff is going slowly on the straights. So AI automatically pits, but maybe GazMC just felt like I don't have a new pair of tyres anyway and may not get in and out, but he has run out of fuel, so he'll have to pit this time as per the league code of conduct. Chonk says, my controller again, FFS, which stands for force feedbacks, I believe. Fence in the pits. I presume Fence is still disconnected, or did you rejoin? Temps on an outlap, yet to set a lap time as well. Alpha Integral. Well, it's interesting to see where Alpha Integral can go. We followed along with the other Red Bull earlier on, but he'll be the first car over the line. Skull learning the true meaning of the Syndicate by betting on Chonk. And we have just 2.5 minutes left in the session. So, Alpha Integral, if something goes wrong on this lap, he may be able to pull out of it and start another one. He will have time to do that, but this could be his final lap. This could be the lap that puts him on pole, or certainly that he goes into the final qualifying with. He'll have a buffer. If something goes wrong, he'll be able to recharge as long as it's not too late on in the session as he comes into turn 1 and through turn 2 and turn 3. Keeps it into third gear, using as much curbing as possible through there. Down into turn 5, the right-hander. Carrying the speed through, keeping it in fourth gear to maximise traction. Onto the straightaway, opens up the DRS flap. Aims for the inside of that corner as much as possible. Bumps the inside of the corner a little bit. But he uses the curve on the left. Cuts the corner a little bit. All within the regulations, of course. Through turn 8. And straightens out turn 9 as well. Very similar to turn 5, that corner, I find. But just facing the other way. As he goes lefts through turn 9. And through turn 10, he's going to come up to a bit of traffic. A AlphaTauri fence. But hopefully he'll get out of the way on the next straight. I think he's warming up his tyres. He needs to get out of the way soon enough because he's very, very close to the back end. Could start to get distracting. But Fence hasn't realised, so Alpha Integral could be hurt here. Certainly if he needs to go for another lap. Fence running out of places where he could get out of the way if he wants to go slow, and he does get out of the way, but a little bit twitchy there. I think in the wash of the other aero. Very twitchy out of turn 17. That's going to compromise his time, but this will be his lap. And we'll have to watch as the cars come over the line. Fence, obviously, is going to go around and get one lap time in. So 1:37.378. 1:37.378. Fade, he's up 5/10 on his lap time. So he up into a potential 1:37.3. Is this enough? And it is. Yes, he knocks Alpha down to 4th. He knocks AJ down into 3rd. But we have OS Degrees coming around the final corner. No, he comes into the pits. We have Temp. He's coming around the final corner. How has he done? A 1:04, 6:23 in the middle sector. That's 1:77.5. Excellent time. Up into 5th position. And we have AJ Sinden. He's coming through the final part of his lap. Oh, a bit twitchy out there. Only marginally up on his time through the 2nd sector. So this may not be enough to take a front row, and he's just backed out of it a little bit there. 6/10 down. Armin's best lap time. Oh, nail-biting stuff. We have Matusas in the middle sector. He must have... Did he make it through? He will be on a lap, actually. He is on a lap. So we have Struggs. He's coming through the middle sector. He's up 1.174 on his time. A 1:36.7, as I'm choking up a little bit, is on the cards here. Fade on provisional pole as it stands. And Struggs, can he do enough? He was up through the middle sector don't have mini sectors this game, so we don't know. As he comes towards the line, he spins! He spins! But still sets on 138.8, but spins around the final corner. He was up on the time, but did not make it through. Well, he didn't make it onto pole position, so Fade has first position for this track. Chonk gets a 138.142. He'll be disappointed with that. Alpha Integral, he is on a disqualified lap, so it's just Matusas who can set a time, and he's crawling through this middle sector. Fence also in a position to set a time. No, he's disqualified. So we have our result. A 136.867 for Fade. Congratulations to him, taking his second pole position of the year, maybe his first. Let me know, Fade, which way that is. But you, you stole it off him. Struggs could not respond. He was up a tenth and a half through the middle sector, but spinning at the final corner. Still a front row position for Struggs, and another Williams lockout. That may be the sixth for the season. AJ Sinden in third. A good result for him, even if he couldn't improve right at the last. Alpha Integral 137.378. Steely determination to just go out and set a single lap time and have yourself in the top four here. Temp, a great lap time from him, 137.529. OS Degrees a 137.933. Matusas a 138. Didn't improve at the end there. Gaz MC, he retired from the session, 138.111. Chonk on 138.142, and Fence didn't set a lap time. So Fence saying I got some BS wing damage from a tap. That's annoying. Are you sure, like, setting a lap time you couldn't have got like a 138? Like a low 138 and get into maybe 10th position? You could have done, but yeah, annoying if that happened. So that is our qualifying done. So if you're watching along, of course, please do not ready up. There will be a ready up message going in very soon. And Chonk saying, I told you I was slow around here. I thought it was your controller. So we actually did see the end of the race here, which is good, because last time I saw nothing, which was not. It was suboptimal. Let's say that it was suboptimal to see nothing when you want to see the what's going on screen and record some clips down. But hopefully we won't even need those recordings anyway, because as soon as we get onto the grid and the ready up rulers of reserves, we can ignore the qualifying results as it will be covered in the full video. So, Joker says, let's try it from the back then. I guess that is your choice. To try it from the back, I'll jump into the Discord and see when qualifying, well, when the full race will kick off. There will be a message from AJS Inden, and it's at 21:02, so 4 minutes time. I will make sure that no one readies up. I'm just going to take a very quick drink break, and then I will be right back for the race. So, let's jump back in and just have a quick look at the standings before we start the race at 91.02. 91.02, that made no sense. 21.02, 9.02 in non-army time. So 192 points is what Struggs is sitting on. 128 points for Fade. Fade starting ahead of Struggs. Could gain back a little bit of time here, but after his light defence of the lead last weekend, I'm not holding up too much hope for Fade fighting for the rest of this championship. It's almost a done deal that Struggs will take this championship at this stage. OS Degrees it with 90 points. He did make it through, but AJ Essendon right hot on his tail, starting third here. He'll be hoping for a good result, pick up some big points against the Ferrari. That's AJ Essendon's goal now, to finish third in the Constructors. It's going to be difficult as well with his Tango just behind him, and with 5 races left after this one. 6 races left including this one. Is that right? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 6 races left including this one. We could see a big switch around here. Matusas on 50 points. Chonk, he's on 46 points, hoping to make some more ground and fight back from the DNF he had earlier this season. The Alpines are in third position behind Ferrari, moving further away. I know it seems bad, but in 6th position, Red Bull. That's probably Ferrari's biggest threat with this calibre of driver that they both have at Red Bull now. That could really knock on the doors of Ferrari and become a big problem for them. Red Bull, yeah, right, okay. So the reason why, his Tango's points and AJ Essendon's points don't add up to make Red Bulls is because his Tango moved actually this week into the Red Bull seat full time. I haven't actually said that yet. He did move into the Red Bull seat full time this week, and Tempe moved up into the Alfa Romeo role. So he's been doing reserve drive roles for Aston Martin, namely, and other drives, and he now is at Alfa Romeo, teammating Denderpool, who's not racing this weekend. I believe it's Ganja in for Denderpool. Vamos Williams from Keji. A Williams fan. Chonk says, if my controller disconnects again, I'm going to retire in. So, serious words there. He could go the way of Federer. I'd be a danger to the track. That's fair enough. If you feel like your controller's failing, then absolutely fair enough. But we will have a formation lap, and we can have a look at the tyres that the starters are on. So, Fade, a lot of hards here. I'm just going hard unless if I say, nothing, I mean hard. So Fade, starting on pole position, maybe his second pole position of the year, and he is on the hard tyres. Struggs also just behind him. Williams' teammate will be looking to get in front early doors to extend his lead in the championship. AJ Essendon, he's in third. Alpha Integral, he's in 4th. Temp 5th. OS Degrees 6th. Matusas 7th. 8th. A medium runner of Gaz MC for the Aston Martins. It's Ganja in for the second Alpha seat, by the way. Go back to what I earlier said. Chonk, he's on a pair of mediums too. Fence hards. IBM mediums. Giri on tour, he's on hards. Ganja on hards. George on hards. Fox on hards. McLeod, he's on a pair of mediums. Rugriff, he's on a pair of softs. Geordie, pair of hards for the McLaren. Joker, not qualifying. He is on a pair of softs, going aggressive at the start of the Grand Prix. And Alex Trent G, he is also on a pair of hards. So, we have quite a number of laps here. 61 to go. And we are on the formation lap at the moment. Let's change this to positions gained. Positions change. I always get that one. That's the best mechanic. And I'll just put in a quick message to the Discord saying okay, so we'll go on board for Struggs. I think that will be the better starting position. Starting soft is so shy, surely. Yeah, it's not a terrible race tyre, especially if you have lots of them, because you didn't qualify and you didn't get any lap times in. But you have to get through the pack, right? And as soon as you get held up by someone on a slower tyre, which you will do, it's no longer the right tyre. But I think it gives you a bit of leeway, right? If you start in your softs and you have a little crash, then what is that view? Why would it give me that view at the start? Useless. Let's have a look and see if someone else has a better view here. These views. It's either that, or that, or that's probably the best we'll get. Oh, this game, man. Right. I don't have control over these views. I could go on board, but where's the fun in that? So, as the drivers stare at the lights, and the session starts. One light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And the Syndicate goes racing at Singapore. And we have Struggs getting away slightly slower than his teammate Fade and slotting into second position. Let's see how they get around the pack as we come through turn 3. Seems to be nicely done so far. Doesn't seem to be a yellow. Some good pack racing. And it's Struggs and HS Inden putting pressure on Struggs, is he? No, he's a bit further back than I thought he was. But there's a collision. Oh, is there a collision at turn 5? There's certainly cars going too wide as HS Inden is in 5th position. Fade goes through, so does Struggs, so does HS Inden. Temp, Alpha Integral has lost a few places at the start here. Gaz MC up 3 positions, so gaining a lot at the start. James is so ass at start. That's Struggs. His driver coach Keji basically, hyping him up and saying his ass at starts. Struggs didn't get the best start there. Fade did manage to maintain it, but he didn't lose positions crucially for Struggs. But we'll see how this settles down. Certainly not going to be lots and lots of overtaking today, but we will keep an eye on the positions change. Chonk not making up any places this weekend. Unusual for him, usually very aggressive at the start. Wonder what happened to him. As we have Gaz MC, he did make up 3 positions. He's into 5th position for the Aston Martin, in for Louis Vest, looking to make a place on Tempe. And Struggs has fallen outside of a second of DRS range from Fade. Obviously no DRS next time round, but there would be if you were within 1 second. I haven't played a week and I was still mugging him off the line. You never lose it if you got it though, and Struggs never had it. Is that what you're saying? Our championship leader never had it. Gaz MC is in 5th position, only 3 tenths behind. Temp looking to make a position, and we have racing up and down the field. But a very, very clean start. No yellow flags, I do believe so far, which is very good going. It's better than they had in real life. So no yellow flags, and very, very sensible racing through the pack. As we have Struggs, he has dipped a little bit down on that time and broken into that second barrier, but he'll have to work very hard to keep that. And he is using a fair chunk of ERS to make sure he keeps within that gap. Important for his strategy to win this race, to stay with Fade. It's very much a race of letting people make mistakes and following them through. You don't often get an opportunity, you need a 2-second delta advantage, very similar to Monaco, to make a pass around here because of the walls and the closeness of the track. It's so difficult to overtake. Temp is probably the car most under pressure in the top 5. Gaz MC only 3 tenths behind him. He will be looking to make a move when that DRS becomes active next time around. Chonk 3 tenths down on Fence in the AlphaTauri. He's also under pressure, but will have DRS from the car in front. Temp won't have DRS from the car in front, so that is crucial. OS Degrees doing well to cling to that battle at the front. I've just had a message from Kevin, so I'll try and get Kevin into the lobby. He won't be racing, but he may be joining me here. I can't see him. Kevin, are you watching? Are you watching, Kev? Kevlar, if you're watching, there's definitely room for you in the lobby. But we have Temp. He has tailed off Gaz MC so far, and Chonk hasn't got past Fence, but this will be first DRS zone. Past this corner, and Gaz MC is going to be right behind, and he is so close. And will he have the speed? He's used a lot of ERS here to get this move done. Goes to the left hand side, which becomes the inside for turn 7, and gets the move done. OS Degrees has just fallen off the back of this battle, so didn't benefit from ERS though, and is actually open to attack from Alpha Integral just behind. Struggs has closed up to Fade, so I don't know if Fade has made a mistake here, but Struggs has done enough to close down that gap. It went above a second for a moment on lap 1, but he's got it back down to 2, and he will be able to close down. Fade, of course, won't have DRS in these early stages. And we'll watch if there's any attempt at an overtake here. Not long enough straight here to get the overtake done. Feels very much like the same length to the middle sector at Zandvoort. And really it's just turn 7, which is a sensible overtaking opportunity around here. Maybe into turn 1 if they have a bit of a loose traction out of turn 23, the final corner. But Struggs, oh, he makes contact with his teammate! He makes contact with his teammate! It's a disaster for Williams! The cars are stuck on one of each other and they're falling down the order. It's just a little mistake by Struggs that has cost them hugely, and they fall landed into 10th and 11th position, and AGS Inden is now in the lead of the race, and it's Gaz MC chasing him down for that lead in the Aston Martin. A little knock, a little misjudgment of braking through turn 18, and it's Struggs has fallen way down there with Fade as well. They did well to work themselves out of that little rut they were in. But he's a flashback to Fide, contact into there. I don't think he was attempting an overtake, merely just misjudged his braking, and that has given Fade an almighty knock. And now it's Gaz MC, doesn't have much ERS. AGS has a fair more chunk of ERS, and Gaz MC now fighting for the lead of the race with AGS Inden. This is a good opportunity for AGS Inden to build up his championship tally. He's not going to be gaining on Fade. He's not going to be gaining on Struggs. But very disappointing for Struggs there. A little uncharacteristic mistake while following his teammate. So hard to overtake here, and just a nibble at his back end sent them both in the wall. I don't know if any of them got damage, but we'll have a watch and see if either of these cars got damage. That's a useless view to work out if they got damage. They don't look like they've got all their end plates. And Fade is actually trying a move on Matusas around the outside there. That's very unorthodox. May leave him a little bit open to Struggs. No, it doesn't, because Struggs doesn't get a great drive out of turn 13. Down into turn 14. He looks to the inside. He brakes much later. And he does get the move done, but Matusas has every right to come back at him. Into turn 15. Not a normal place to overtake. And we saw disaster here last year. And Fade just about keeping it in bounds as the contact from Matusas with the wall, trying to go through too wide. And now Struggs has fit through that gap. And Matusas has just kept it in. And hey, Bo Baggery, definitely there's space for you in the commentary. Just give me a second. We've just got into a moment here. But yeah, jump into the Discord commentary chat and I'll get you in. We'll work it out from there. But Matusas is battling with Struggs. And there was a little bit of contact through 18 and 19, but Struggs does eventually get through, but he'll be open to DRS. He's dropped back a second and a half from his teammate. And Matusas is down in 11th position now after losing a position to both Williams boys over the course of that last lap, but not close enough to benefit from an overtake here. And Kevin is in, so let's welcome Kevin to the team. Hello, Kevin. Are you there? I can't hear you. I don't know if I don't know if you're talking or not, but I can't hear you at least. I'll just wait out for there in a moment. But Gaz MC still following up close with AGS Inden. We should be having Kev join the commentary booth quickly, soonly, or some kind of English, which would make sense. OS Degrees has dropped back from Temp. Temp has dropped back from Gaz MC. There certainly is a battle of the lead here, and yeah, Keji, you missed a lot because Struggs knocked into Fade at turn 18, and they both got clung onto the wall basically and passed rather cleanly. Still, no massive yellow flag incident, no VSC or safety car. Yeah, don't know if we can hear you yet, Kev. Either, by the way, if you are talking. But oh yeah, hello, Kev. Hello.
Whoa.
How's it going?
Yeah, good man. Just send me an invite if you can.
Yep. I'll get you an invite in, Mr. Bullbaggery. Where are you? Are you hiding offline? No, you're not. There you are. Invite to a game. I'm hoping that there is space for you in the lobby. It did seem a very full lobby.
We'll find out.
But we just had massive drama just before you joined, and Gaz MC is now only 4 tenths behind AGS Inden, coming into turn 7, but still not close enough. You saw that in the real race today. Miss Bullbaggery has joined, so you'll be able to watch along. You'll be able to get in, Kev. It's been a long time since we had you in the commentary box. I think it was it Canada?
Yes, I think it was, because I crashed out.
Round
in
2.
good old typical fashion.
Multi 21, Seb, is what Keji's saying. So I don't think there's a multi 21 moment. I think it was more Ricciardo and Verstappen at Baku, Keji. Did you catch the incident between Struggs and Fade watching along?
I didn't know. I just missed it.
Yeah, well, basically Struggs nudged Fade into turn 18. They were both 1 and 2 in the race, and they both span out basically and lost about 10 positions. The pair of them, and now they're working back through the pack. Fade is actually just behind IBN, so we should follow on board with him as he's closing down with the race pace. There's 2 Haas drivers being replaced this weekend, you and Will. You'll be happy to know that neither of them are in the points. So scoring realistic Haas points.
Keeping up the standard.
But yeah, welcome aboard to Kevin, Mr. Ballbaggery in the races. He's a Haas driver normally, and he's been with us one time before. In the commentary box, in the booth, as we have Fade closing down on IBN. Fence, one of the few drivers, the only driver with a penalty so far. And coming up around turn 5, opens the DRS, and does he have the right drive to make a move on IBN here? He looks like it does. Struggs behind, also has DRS, goes up to the inside of IBN, and it's job done before the corner. Does keep it in the track balance, and now Struggs is looking like he wants a piece of that too. Sticks his nose in where it doesn't really belong. Bit of contact there, bit desperate to get through, and that's luckily there's no spin there, but I'm sure that could have ended a bit badly for those two. Just trying to sneak through when there isn't really a move on at turn 8. And causing a bit of contact. Hopefully there's no damage for IBN's car there. Captain Wolfgang saying, let's get the podium, let's go. That must be for Temp. Captain Coolwine and Temp have a love affair. I don't know if you know this. They have a loving, let's say that. And Temp has the koi helmet, so I do hope that he actually loses. It's not as bad as a fish helmet. The koi helmet I despise. The fish helmet is like the worst in the world. Has Fence got the fish helmet on actually? Let's check. Where is Fence? I can't see.
7th.
Oh, 7th. He's quite high up. He has got the fish helmet on, so
yes.
Wishing him bad vibes too.
We're rooting for Haas and the fish helmet today.
But Struggs will be in DRS for the start-finish straight here. And when do you think Struggs will take the championship, Kev? Not this weekend. I don't think it's possible this weekend. Maybe next weekend is where it starts to be possible.
I'm going to go for 2 more weeks, so two more races after this one.
So I think that's Kota. I think that's Kota.
Yep, I think it is. I'm going to go for that. 2 weeks time.
So, Struggs does get the move done on IBN. A lap later than he wanted to, but without contact, so that's good to see. Fade has 3.5 seconds to catch up with Fence. At the top, we have Alfred Tegel. He's only 9 tenths down on Tempe. Gaz MC following AJS Inden very closely along, and this battle for first and second could go on for quite a while. No safety cars as yet. I wonder if a few cars have maybe underfueled as well, because there's a few cars you can tell that they have who hasn't. Captain Rainbow Fox hasn't underfueled, and neither has Batusas. But you can tell AJS Inden's low on fuel, and Gaz MC. We've not had a safety car yet. Through turn 1, it was just so clean as a whistle. And
that's a surprise.
Yeah, it's a big surprise around here. People just go charging into 1, 2, and 3. I find tracks where the run to turn 1 isn't that much. People really misjudge it. Like Miami's just a hell fest for it. That run to turn 1's barely anything, and people just go charging in.
So I had a little flick through everybody there, and 11 of the 20 drivers are underfueled.
Right, okay. 11 of the 20 drivers are underfueled. So
yes,
there's going to be a lot of fuel saving here if the safety cars don't come out. I remember last year feeling in a very similar position, and then luckily the safety cars, luckily for my fuel, not luckily for the people who got crashed out, my fuel started to, the safety car started pouring and my fuel started to get into a better situation. but I had started fuel saving as Gaz MC gets very close, but again, just not close enough. He'll need to be within about 5/10 of a second to make a move into turn 1, with the pace deficit between these two not being too much. Alpha Integral has got very close to Tempe and having to defend on the inside Tempe, and Chonk, sensing an opportunity, has just smacked Alpha Integral into the barrier. OS Degrees caught into the instant as well, and Fence crashing into OS Degrees. A bit of contact through the field there, and Chonk seems to have just clipped the back of Alpha Integral through turn 7, and a few front wings lost there. That'll be a disappointment for Alpha Integral and Red Bull, both in a good points going positions, but Tempe lives another day. Chonk seems to have forced his way through a little bit there, and he's now only 3/10 behind Temp. Let's see if he tries to make a move into turn 14, the right-hander. He tries to go around the outside, and he overshoots it, frankly, and luckily to avoid the barrier there. I don't know if you caught that 4th and 5th.
I didn't, unfortunately. I was further down the field.
Well,
I'm surprised there wasn't a safety car, though.
Yeah, definitely. At least a VSC or something like that, because there was quite a lot of wings strewn across the place.
Be interesting to see who has to pit. We'll find out in 20 seconds.
I think OS Degrees, I think potentially Tempe, because he's going very slowly through this final section, having to back away and actually peel into the pit, so he looks like he's got damage. Alpha Integral also one of the ones that will have to pit. OS Degrees doesn't have to pit. He did have quite a bit of contract though, but Alpha Integral has to pit. Fence, he has to pit. Alpha Integral, yeah, he has to pit. Anyone further down than that? No, they weren't included in the fight. But Giri on Tour now sneaking through. They'll fall quite far down the order. It's not an optimal time to actually have to change tyres, and we'll go on to the tyre view so we know what to go on to. So Temp's gone to a pair of softs. Alpha Integral, he's also gone to a pair of softs. And Fence, he is on a pair of medium tyres. So that was a bit of shenanigans there. I'm sure that will get raised with the stewards after the race. Still all 20 runners left in at this time, as we have Chonk. Chonk has got past. No, he got past Temp, but because Temp pitted. So Chonk now up into 3rd position after starting a lowly 8th position. And quite difficult to overtake here, but of course involved with some of the carnage around that sector. And Gaz MC is still right on the back of AGS Inden. Struggs and Fade, they've made it up through the field thanks to that kerfuffle of crashes. And OS Degrees is now trying to hold off from Struggs. Struggs looking very racy, looking twitchy into the braking zones, looking like any little mistake he's going to be going for it and putting his card alongside. Desperate to stay in position with Fade. You'll know that he probably has a penalty facing his way at the end here, so he needs to do everything to get by, and I think impatient to get as many points in this championship and get it wrapped up and done to get the boogie off his back, because I think he's carrying a lot of stress at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just watching a battle further back here. We've got George battling with McLeod, 11th and 12th. George is doing well to keep up pace with McLeod on the halves versus the mediums.
Struggs has just gone into a move into turn 1. So that is done. OS Degrees must have a little bit of wing damage. But we'll watch the battle for George and McLeod. He does look to see like he does have a bit of wing damage. It's hard to tell. Maybe he doesn't actually, but I'd find that surprising. Maybe underfloor damage or something like that he can't pit for, because he is going backwards. But McLeod holding off from George. Keji, he's carrying a lot of stress because his hair is thinning. That's a lovely comment, Keji. So George is very, very close behind McLeod, but under pressure from Joker, if anything. Joker looking to the outside. I think he would have gone for a move if he didn't have the DOS down. And Chonk has retired from the session. So that's a crash, and that's a full race yellow. It's a safety car. So a bit of release for the cars that did pit early doors, but Chonk has crashed, and he said, dude, my fucking controller. So he is right in the middle of the road. He was complaining about his controller all through practice. All for the qualifying, sorry. And he clearly has had controller issues, otherwise known as skill issues in the trade. So very, very difficult for him. OS just completely turned into me. That's what Fence is saying. Is that to do with the incident? That was. I think there was a lot going on in that incident. We'll have to review that after the race. But Chonk becomes the first one to crash out Chunk very angry there. I also didn't touch integral. He didn't touch integral. Okay, so he must be listening along as he drives, which is probably why he crashed out.
Not
Right?
Yeah, it's not unusual, as Tom Jones would say.
Right, is anyone going to go for the pits? Is anyone pitting early doors? OS Degrees is pitting. He's pitting onto a pair of soft tyres. He is having a front wing change, so did have front wing damage there. IBN is also pitting onto a pair of hard tyres, also getting a front wing change. Both drivers clearly opting to wait for the first safety car period to change their wings, and IBN's gone to a pair of hard, so he could get to the end. He'd hate himself, but he could get to the end. But they do fall down the order. And behind George, but they keep places on fence, which is crucial, and they've used this safety car to their advantage to avoid that.
McLeod had wing damage as well.
Right, McLeod had wing damage. That would explain his slow pace.
Yeah.
Maybe knocked it on the wall. Chunk, I do believe you. Just submit your clips. I'll get that all uploaded straight after the race. I didn't do it before the race today because I forgot. So, I'm just toying with you, Chonk. So we have Rugriff. Has he just lost a position to Temp? Oh, it's Temp. I don't know what happened there. Out of the pit lane, maybe. Temp has pitted. No, McLeod has pitted.
No, he didn't.
So maybe
McLeod
just
had
spinning there. Something's gone on there. So Rugriff gains a position of the safety car. Not quite sure what happened there. But be a brief pause. I think Gaz MC does have a lot of pace over AJ, but on those hard tyres, and he'll be sad to know that Fade and Struggs are now, after having that early crash, back into third and fourth right behind them, and this safety car has really caught the pack, concertinaed the pack up, and all of that hard work building that gap, racing well together, kind of undone in a moment of controller-related madness for Chonk. Crazy how Struggs and Fade both blew up, and they're right up there again. I think that is the beauty of having safety cars, at least. You know, if you make a mistake early doors, then if you can, have a bit of consistency coming back through the field, then everything's okay. But it will be a four-way battle for the front. Gaz MC on those medium tyres will have a bit of better pace, but obviously the hard runners will switch to mediums at the end and have the improved pace when it most matters. So expect Gaz MC to have to get the lead and try and build a gap early doors to try and bridge away and hope for no more safety cars. But this safety car will come in handy for a lot of people who were probably struggling with fuel saving. He says 11 drivers had fuel difficulties at one point, Kev.
Yeah, that's right. There was 11. Don't know how many have fuel issues now, but I'll have a check once the safety car comes in again and see how many are shown as red. It'll be interesting to see how those who are on softs and mediums just now can battle through the pack, because they've obviously pitted against the ones in the top 8, who haven't yet. So interesting to see how they fare at the end.
I mean, I say it quite often, but I think safety cars breed safety cars, and when you have a track like this where it's so difficult to overtake, but you have that huge offset of tyre compound difference, it can produce a few incidents. Obviously, we expect clean racing, but things do happen when you're on a hard tyre, battling to keep car behind. Contact can happen. It's just so a lot easier to keep cars behind here and a lot harder to overtake, so you have to work so much harder to overtake. It can drain it out of you. We've only had 13 of 61 laps. It's felt like half race distance already with the amount of racing we've seen. 13 laps consecutively, or 12 laps consecutively without a safety car at one of the trickiest circuits on the calendar.
Yeah, I think OS is in a prime position. Yeah, he's on 9 fresh softs, everyone in front of him, 12 laps old mediums or halves. If he can battle through quickly, he's going to find himself in a good spot.
Definitely, he's the first of the runners on that soft compound tyre, and he'll hope to battle through and hope another safety car can come through. I think the thing is when you crash and you're on the medium or hard tyre early doors, you don't want to go onto that long distance compound. You want to save that for the end, so you kind of forced into a position to use a pair of softs. Now, he waited for the safety car to get that wing change because he didn't want to ditch the pair of hards he started on, I believe. It could have been mediums. Yeah. Yeah, he'll be pushing, won't he? He will be pushing as hard as he can. I think he's out of place certainly there, based on his pace, and he will be definitely out of place on those soft tyres. He'll see if he can scream through in the first few corners, but the safety car will be in. Oh, I was going to say it'll be in this lap, but look how far Geordie's back. Geordie's still only just coming through the start of the third sector, and the safety car's just gone over the finish of the first sector. So that's quite far back. Matusas gets a 3-second time penalty for warnings under safety car. That's always a kick in the nuts, isn't it? When you cut the corner under safety car and the warning gives you a penalty.
Yeah, totally.
Geordie has a drive-through. Matusas has 6 seconds worth of penalties already. Fence 3 seconds, and IBN has 11 seconds worth of penalties. So I expect 6 of those will be corner cutting, and 5 of those may be a kind of speeding into pit lane type infringement. Fence says, I've done nothing wrong, done nothing yet, had everything happen to me. I've done nothing yet. So he's done nothing. Fence, I think, is that you've done nothing wrong yet? Because that's kind of like saying you're going to do something wrong later on. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, that instant, I just caught the back end of it. So I saw Alpha Integral. So safety car is in this lap, but I'll just finish my point. I saw Alpha Integral try and go around the outside of Temp. That didn't quite work out. Chonk tried to get involved with that instant. Alpha Integral maybe had a little bit of a moment where he span and then other cars collided, and OS Degrees and Fence were in the mix somehow. But we'll go on board with AGS Inden for his start. First time for a while that you've been watching him at the start of the race, and we'll make sure that it's one clear return to racing.
Oh no, someone else is DNF'd there.
Matusas, yeah, he's DNF'd right at the final sector. Possibly.
So Rainbow Fox.
Rainbow Fox is DNF'd, yeah, so there's been a collision between those two.
Oh, what happened there?
At the start of the restart. Let us know what's happened there with Matusas and Fox. I'm sure they'll jump in the chat. But we have the restart, and AGS Inden makes one clear return to racing, and there's no brake checking this time around, so good from him. And Gaz MC looks to the inside, and AGS Inden just leaves the littlest bit of space just in case he did actually go for the move. But Gaz MC is right behind AGS Inden here, and those hards are so hard to warm up. And there is Fence falling down the order. He'd done nothing yet, and everything has happened to him. I wonder what has happened there. He's fallen way down at turns 1, 2 and 3. But Gaz MC sees his best chance for a move and goes up the inside, but just backs out of it. Can be dangerous to back out of it so late because you kind of get stuck in no man's land. But AGS Inden leaves the space sensibly. Obviously a long way to go in this race. Me and Fox, so Matusas saying me and Fox retired because we both forgot to lower tyre pressures. So our temps were always over 100. So we retired so we don't cause a collision. Right, okay, I guess that's fair enough. That is fair enough. If you felt like you were going to cause a collision because of your tyre temps, that's okay. So Gaz MC is in second position. Fade right behind Gaz MC, and AGS Inden just trying to break the toe as early as possible along there. Knows how hard it is to overtake here. But Gaz MC goes a little bit deep, and that gives an opportunity to Fade to go side by side. And he's looking for that inside. He's looking. He does go for it. He sends it really, really deep. But that makes him go so deep. That was a wild, wild move. And that has given him the place. Somehow he got it stopped. But a little mistake for Gaz MC. And Fade absolutely sent it on the inside. I don't know if he deserved the space, but he's certainly given it. And because he was given it, he can take that position. But if Gaz MC left his car where he should have been, I think it would have been a massive contact. But an absolute lunge into turn 16 there from Gaz MC, and now Gaz MC is going to do everything to try and get back here and doesn't want to see AGS Inden disappear down the road. AGS Inden was probably quite happy with Gaz MC behind him, but those two Williams boys, he may be a bit more hot under the collar about it.
Yep, and OS in one lap has managed to make up 3 places. He's took George, Alex and Ganja. So he's up into 6 now, so those softs are paying dividends for him in the restart.
Very good point. He has, made 3 places there. Fence, I think one of them being Fence, who spun out potentially, but still good positions to make up on those soft tyres. He'll be hoping to join the front battle, certainly. Gaz MC putting pressure on Fade, but that is allowing AGS Inden just to break a little bit of a gap at the front. DRS has been broken And if Gaz MC puts pressure on Fade, that will allow AGS Endon to build a gap up. Alpha Integral making move on Fence at the back of the pack. And
that's another position taken by OS up to 5th now. He's on the tail of Strugs.
He is.
Or he will be very shortly.
He will be. So he'll be hoping that that compound tyre can do him wonders, and he could join the battle for the front of this race. But of course those tyres won't go very far. He'll only have 2 or 3 laps of very good running, and there's a yellow through sector 2 at turn 14, and there's another full safety car. Another full safety car which just bites the tail off the charge, and it's George who's gone deep.
Yep, and is he DNF'd?
He's DNF'd. He is out of the race. So I don't know what happened to George there. Matissa said he was also understeering into the wall and getting damaged, so I felt like it was too dangerous on track. That's fair enough. Take it up with the stewards. I'm sure that's a valid enough reason if you didn't lower your pressures, because I know I've done that before. Yeah, so it looks like George has gone deep into turn 14 and smashed it into the safer barrier at the Tech Pros.
Yep. So Haas living up to its usual on a race weekend.
You got a 6th position here. You got a 6th position. Although quite often, Kev, you find yourself in 6th position early doors, and then you're like, "Oh, Kev's on a good weekend here." You're really excited, and then next safety car you've crashed out or like just spun.
I know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Also, there, Fence just got a drive-through for speeding under safety car, so he's going to fall right to the back.
Oh,
come the restart.
It's good for Geordie, but there's quite a few cars in the pits. Joker going onto a hard pair of tyres. McLeod onto a hard pair of tyres too. Temp is onto a pair of softs. Fence onto a pair of softs. And Alpha Integral into the pits onto a scrub pair of softs. 2 lap olds those softs that he's on there. But they'll be hoping to go attacking. But, you know, safety cars breed safety cars. I don't know what happened there, but it looked like George just missed his braking marks and went into the barrier at turn 14. End of the DRS straight.
Must have just been cold tyres. Oh, and Strugs has spun.
Strugs has spun.
Up in the 4th.
Strugs has spun. Let's go and watch that. Well, not watch that happily, but yeah, he does get out of the way. So a spin under the safety car. Very uncharacteristic. 2 mistakes from Strugs already. Very similar from Verstappen in real life. I'm not calling Strugs Max Verstappen, but he is being as dominant as him this year. And Max Verstappen, of course, not having a great race there in Singapore today, making a few uncharacteristic errors over the course of the weekend. And Strugs has made an uncharacteristic error there, spinning under safety car. You usually expect that to fade, and that sounds really awful, but it's usually fade. So, but that, OS Degrees is up to 4th position, and he may be just sensing that his tyres could go a little bit longer and give himself.
What did OS start on tyre-wise?
OS started on a pair. You know, he may have started on a pair of softs. You should be able to check by the race director.
Yeah, if he did, he is in prime position here. Does he still have the hards to go on?
No, he must have started on the mediums actually, because he started on something weird. No, he did start. He started on the hards. Started on the hards. But the medium is the good tyre to go on here. So if you can take those softs to lap, it's a big ask, but you're talking lap 25, 30 onwards. Those mediums could go quite far, and then hope for a late safety car to ditch onto a pair of softs. That's could be his strategy. He did go through to Q3, so he won't have many pair of new softs. OS Degrees started on hards and had to pit for a new wing. So, yeah. Confirming that in chat. If you're watching along for the first time, please drop us a follow. We'd really appreciate it. And you want to get involved with the action, join the Discord just below. We race every Friday and Sunday night at 8 PM BST. So, Keji says, bro, what's going on with James? I leave them, come back, and he's in no man's land. Yeah, so just to update, he's had another moment. He's spun under safety car. So, Keji, I think what Strugs is asking of you now is that you don't leave and just watch this stream. So, because every time you leave, he makes a mistake. And yeah, we don't want that. Fence is saying, I feel like retiring, but I'm not allowed. This is the worst race I've had. Why do you feel like retiring, Fence? You could still pick up great points. It's lap 18. I'm G'ing up Fence now. It's lap 18, yeah? Do you have any damage? Yeah, think about this. Picture this. You go through the pit 7 times, yeah? You have numerous wing changes. involved in all sorts of skirmishes that aren't really your fault, and you still finish P2. That's me at Baku last season. Yeah, so anything could happen. Stay in it to win it. You know, I'm sure IBN would love the points if you scored a point.
Yep, Joker as well. I think when Joker got his first victory, Joker had a few incidents, I believe. He was at the back for most of the race, and he ended up winning.
You never know what's going to happen, but safety car is in this lap, so we do know that. And AJ Sinden will be taking control quite late on, because Alpha Integral has only just joined the pack, but I'm sure he'll be aware that he would have joined the pack. And hopefully those tyres aren't too cold. It's so treacherous to start on those hards. We saw an incident in the SR50 involving Fade spinning around these 22 and 23. And he's leaving it very, very late, knowing that he probably hasn't got the traction in the tyres, and goes. But Fade right behind knows how to do a restart himself. Fence gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Don't let that deter you, Fence. And Fade is in second position, just behind AJ Sinden. And Gaz MC's right on the back of Fade. Right on the back of Fade. And Matusas has left the session.
OS is right on the back of Gaz.
OS Strig is right on the back. There's a McLeod spun at turn 3 and 4. They're all really close here. And AJ Sinden on a lot of pressure from the cars behind. He'll be hoping for more safety cars. More safety cars and more safety cars and more safety cars. A lot of the cars seem to have had their fuel saving under control now. But Fade, OS Degrees, really close behind Gaz MC, putting the pressure on. That's where the move's going to come from, if there's any move here. And there is collision in the wall. I ganja. There is Ganja, Alpha Integral in the wall. McLeod, he is in the wall with Geordie. Just coming into that, there's some kind of contact between them. Severe collision penalty for McLeod. For a collision with McLeod to Geordie, so I have no idea what happened there. Maybe a bit of a dodgy rejoin, but there was certainly contact. No safety car has been called. OS Degrees only 3 attempts behind Gaz MC here, Kev.
Yeah, he is. I think his tyres are seven laps old now. It's definitely a little quicker out the corners still. But got a feeling that they're maybe starting to drop just a little bit.
Just goes a bit deep through turn 19 and 20. And he just oh, and AJ Sinden spun from the start of the race. AJ Sinden has spun around those final corners. I spoke about how those hards are so tricky to heat up. He spots a moment in the traffic and gets off the racing line fairly nicely there. That was a good enough rejoin there, and he is now just in front of his teammate. But I spoke about how hard it is to get those temperatures in, and Fencer's also spun into turn 3, so very difficult for him. He's coming back at Alpha Integral now, but now it's Fade in the lead of the race. We have a Haas in the pits. A Temp is in the pits.
Yep. OS just taking second place as well. A nice overtake up the inside there.
Ah, right, into turn 7. Right, okay.
Yes.
Missed that, but that's okay. OS Degrees now after the race leave of 8-lap-old softs. And looking a lot racy on those tyres. You can see the traction is oozing out of them. AJ Sinden, it's just those hard tyres will catch you out for multiple laps around that final corner. So sketchy to get those warm tyres back, those hard tyres back up to their operating temperature. That is the difficulty of using hards, especially on a low traction track like this, with lots of slow traction zones out of corners. But OS Degrees will have DOS on the next tour, and will have a chance at taking the lead of this race, the Singapore GP. Box these softs under the first safety car on lap 12 against a 19-lap-old hards. But these tyres will start to fall off a cliff soon, so he has to get this move done. But Fade has a fair chunk of EOS, so he'll try to defend. But OS Degree is getting closer and closer and closer, and Fade having to take defensive measures into turn 1. That will put him offline through turn 2. No, he gets it nicely back onto the racing line. But Fade certainly is under pressure here. OS Degrees within 2 temps of the car in front. As we go onto the main overtaking area, if he can get the traction right, he'll be able to make a move. DOS will pop open as he comes through turn 6 and heading towards turn 7. Fade takes the defensive inside line, but OS Degrees is hung out to dry around the outside. Not left too much space there, but does retake, does go off the track, but has to give that position back. And I think that's going to cost him because Gaz MC is now gone through. So just hung out to dry around the outside there, and he'll pop back under him as he head towards the old Singapore sling. And he does well to take back that second position there, because that could have been disaster if he had to go get Gaz MC again. So good, clean racing from Gaz MC at OS Degrees, and I think Fade did just enough to put his car in the right place and run OS Degrees out wide. But yeah, I'm sure OS Degrees will have a thing or two to say about that.
Yeah, initial reaction, I think it was a clean enough defence from Fade. But yeah, if it's clipped, I guess we'll review it and see what actually happened. But it looked clean enough for me.
So we'll see what happens to that after the race. But OS Degrees will try and battle again. He's still right behind Fade. Fade has no reprieve. Maybe felt a little bit happy. Saw him drop behind Gaz MC at turn 9 and 8. But he
here we go.
Will be very close behind, and he'll have DRS on the start-finish race this time round. That will get him closer. Fade had to go defensive last time round, but I don't think he's had to do that. And OS Degrees has used up a lot of his ERS in that original overtake, and maybe just getting a warning there for how far he run around wide through turn 2. But he's again in the same kind of zone, but has less ERS to use. So he's going to have to try and get up the inside if he wants to get the job done. The gap is about 0.3 of a second. Fade seems to have lots of pace, and OS Degrees will go alongside again. Goes really far, aggressive up the inside. That is fair enough. That is such hard racing. And Temp tries to make it 3 wide, and there's contact from Fade, and Temp takes the lead of the race up the inside. They go 3 wide into turn 8, and I just don't think that's normally an overtaking position. But Fade may now just shoot right past back OS Degrees. He created a chance for Gaz MC, and now OS Degrees is relegated back to 3rd position. So OS Degrees said, I am going down the inside, and I am forcing you down the inside. Fade tried to retake the racing line, and OS Degrees, they left room for each other, fair enough. But Gaz MC sensed the opportunity and went right around the outside of both of them as Fade made contact on OS Degrees. And OS Degrees now going up the inside of turn 14. Does he get the move done? He does, but Fade comes right back up the inside of turn 15. The right-hander into turn 16, and Fade gets right back along. Back and forth racing between these two, but this is allowing Gaz MC to open the gap, and Gaz MC has now got ahead on these medium tyres, which should be the better compound, but probably just about become the worst compound than those older, harder tyres. And OS Degrees working those tyres so hard. You've seen it quite a lot, him on the softs this year, creating opportunities, but then spinning out because he's overworked his tyres. But Fade doesn't have DRS, crucially, because of the gap that's been generated through the battling at the end of the track. Chonk saying mediums are dead around now, and I think you're probably right, but Gaz MC are able to create a little bit of a gap here just because of this battling that's happening just behind these two, absolutely going for it. And we'll see if OS Degrees can spend another lap behind him, or whether he'll finally be able to get the move done. We've seen him go very, very aggressive up to the inside, and Fade gives him the space, but does run out right. There's contact. There is contact between the two. It looks very, very dodgy, but that means Struggs is back into 2nd place. Somehow he is back up. I have no idea how he's got that lucky, but OS Degrees and Fade have contact, and Fade is well and truly miserably down the order. I don't know if he got any damage there. Did you see if he made contact with the wall?
I didn't notice if he hit the wall. I think he maybe avoided it, but I don't know for sure.
Crikey, that was a contact waiting to come. I think they just about was leading themselves to space, but then they just caught the back end, and it'd be interesting to see that one again. I really, really want to get a system in where I can touch a button and click replay that, but yeah, very difficult.
Looking at the WSD, it looks like he doesn't have damage. The mechanical symbol is not red, so if he has got damage, it's very light.
So Fade coming off much worse from that contract. OS Degrees only dropping down 2 or 3 seconds from the lead of the race, but it did leave a position to Struggs, who will now have his sights on Gaz MC just in front. Gaz MC doing the Luigi wins by just doing nothing technique of racing, and will be happy that he's been able to build a gap, finally taking the lead of the race. AJ Sinden's back up in 6th position, with Alpha Integral just behind. Those two are working together to weave through the pack. And Rugaf is up into 5th position in the Aston Martin. It's a good day for the Aston Martins right now.
Yep, Struggs is doing well. He's edging away that gap that Gaz has at front.
Yeah, it's
Gaz,
3 or 4 attempts.
Yeah, Gaz is definitely a little quicker at some of the slower sections, but in the faster sweeping sections, Struggs has definitely got the advantage.
Struggs typically runs lower downforce settings than the rest of the league, which gives him a huge advantage in overtaking and defending from the DRS. But it does come at a disadvantage of those slower corners, but if you've got the skill to make up for it, you might as well use it. As we have, I don't even know, 37 laps of racing left? Not even at half race distance, it's felt like an eternity already. I genuinely think if this, I don't think the 2-hour rule is built into the game. We started the race at 9:02. I think it's from the formation lap end in real life, so it'd be about 9:04, but we're almost now into racing here. 50 minutes in, certainly.
Yeah.
Strokes closes down the gap by about a second there and improves his time by 2 tenths, 1:43.5. And is closing down, building a gap to OS degrees. Those softs starting to become a bit like mouldy old pudding. And Giri on tour, he's got a nice position to 4th place. AJ Sinden only 4 tenths down on Rugriff here, so he'll be looking to make a move this lap on those he's on the same tyre as the car in front, but slightly older, but with a lot more pace here. Coming through, he goes to the inside. Rugriff doesn't really defend it too hard because he knows that it's not worth any kind of damage with how far he is up. And Keji's asking what happened to Fade. Fade and OS Degrees had a bit of a collision out of turn 7. Seemed like they didn't leave each other enough space for racing, and a little bit of contact was made. They went too wide for about a lap and a half, and it ended up in collision. Fade falling quite dramatic down the pack, and OS Degrees just losing a place to Struggs, who seems like the cat who has 9 lives. He's fallen up and down the order twice today. So, Alpha Integral is also closing in on Rugriff now. He'll be the next person to attack him. And let's see how and when he plans to do the attack. Struggs is catching up to Gaz MC for the lead of the race, but we'll focus on this battle for Alpha Integral now, because I think that will happen first. Unless Struggs does a miracle work and catches a whole second through the first sector, I don't think he'll be getting him this lap. But I think Alpha Integral will be looking to make a move on Rugriff very soon. Rugriff's 17 lap old hards versus 21 lap old hards for Alpha Integral. As he goes up the inside, he may even have the job done. No, he thinks better of it, doesn't get alongside sufficiently enough, and races him hard out of these the first few corners here. Turn 4 and the right hander of turn 5. And he's fallen down a little bit, but he should have a better drive. A lot of ERS too. So how much ERS does Rugriff have? Not much. So Alpha Integral, just making contact with the wall on the left. Just making contact. I think a little bit of indecision about which way to go, and ended up making a little bit of contact. And there's sector 3. There's a crash with Fence, and Fence has crashed out at turn 18 and 19, and he's going slowly, but I don't think it's going to result in any kind of safety car, as Alpha Integral closes down on Giri, and AJ Sinden's got past Giri. I've missed that, but Struggs has closed down the gap at the front just a little bit, and Fence has retired from the race. Has he gone through the pit lane? I think he's gone through the pit lane.
Not sure. I don't think he has, actually. No, he hasn't, but his car has pulled off at turn 1 into the left, so it's and there's no one behind him, so I'd say that's safe enough.
So, We can turn on the webcam now anyway, because we are not blocking any of the tower on the left. But we have Struggs 6 tenths behind Gaz MC. Let's see how he wants to attack through the front of the race. Fence saying he had rear wing damage. That's why he's retired. As we go wide and use up every bit of the track. Struggs fighting to get within that crucial 5 tenths, and he does get close, but he doesn't activate the EOS, so doesn't look like he's going to try and go for the move this time round. But will his extra speed be enough anyway? No, it isn't quite, but Alpha Integral has got the move done on Gideon Tour into turn 5. Not usually an overtaking opportunity, but we did see it once or twice today in the real race. And IBN has the multiple time warning penalties. I'll catch up with that later, but no one in the top 10 with penalties at the moment. As we come towards half-race distance, Gideon Tour falls down to 6th position in the Haas.
Yep, Gideon Tour flying the Haas flag. Hopefully doesn't have the standard finish for a Haas anyway.
Fly high and low.
Yeah, exactly. But he's he seems to be running quite steady. He is, especially for 26 lap olds, hards as well. So
yeah, no instant free, seemingly,
yes,
which is good.
Yes,
that's important, because you have 1 or 2 instants early on. You just feel like you just get dragged into every instant in the day. But if you can just keep your powder clean, then
yeah. So there's 4 people haven't pitted yet at all. So you've got Gaz and Struggs in 1st and 2nd haven't pitted yet. AJ hasn't pitted in 4th. Actually, 5 people, and Gideon Tour and Fade haven't pitted either.
So those are the hard to medium strats still alive. They haven't had to switch to a 2-stop. But Struggs is very close to the back of Gaz MC here. Much closer than before. 3 tenths behind, which is as close as he's been in the last few laps, but running a little bit wide through there, but still deciding it's worth the EOS burn, and he closes. Gaz MC hugs the right hand side, and the move gets done into turn 7. Is it all nice and clean? Keeps within the white lines, and Struggs has the lead of the race, I think, for the first time today. So no Grand Chelem today, but the first time he takes the lead after crashing into the back of Fade early doors at turn 18, rising back through the pack, and also having an incident with under safety car and spinning out, and having to rise back through the pack. But he's been lucky that cars in front, AJS Inden, who led the race so well for 20 laps, he spun out, and Fade and OS Squeeze, they got crashed into. Gaz MC really the only car not to have fault so far.
Yep, Fade's now putting a lot of pressure on Gideon Tour as well, to try and climb back up into 6th place. I think it's only a matter of time until he takes him, to be honest.
Could be down into turn 14. He's using a bit of EOS, he's down the inside.
He's past him.
So,
interestingly, Alpha Integral is the only person left on the grid who doesn't have enough fuel potential to finish the race.
Oh really? He's really underfueled his car.
Yes.
But if there's a safety car later on, he'll have a lot less fuel on board, which will... it's dangerous, isn't it? Sometimes you just think, I'm at Singapore, I'm at Monaco. I don't know, were you in the Monaco race last year where the safety car didn't come out?
It, thankfully.
Oh, it was hell. I underfueled my car by about 4 laps. And there was no safety car. So I had to do 3 laps worth of saving, and I finished the lap down almost on purpose. But Gaz MC has gone into bits.
He has, yes. He's just switched onto the hards. Going medium to hard.
So he'll be hoping to pop out in front of Ganja. He's coming to turn 1 on those 11 lap old softs. If he can just squeeze out in front of him, he'll have a bit of difficulty warming his tyres up for a few laps, but should maybe be able to just keep in front of Ganja. Ganja will sense blood and think, I need to get past him sooner or later, and he goes in a little bit at turn 5. I would have waited just a little bit, but he does have the DRS just behind and hasn't used any ERS, interestingly, but thinks he can get the move done anyway and goes to the inside. Certainly thinks about it, but doesn't fight it too hard. But Gaz MC does run wide, but in defence, you usually get away with that, running wide over the white line, at least on a first offence. But Gaz MC just keeping the place, 7th position. And his tyres will start to warm up now. It'll be difficult for Ganja to overtake him, but will be interesting to see what kind of pace he can put out and whether he can build a gap to the cars around him. I mean, if a safety car comes out now, it would injure his fortunes quite dramatically, but hopefully for him he can rebuild some of the pace. I think other cars will be pitting for mediums in the next 5 laps or so.
Yep, I agree, and I think since Gaz has pitted as well, Struggs has gained at least a second on OS, who has actually just went in the pit.
Yep, so OS going into the pits with the Scarlet Ferrari with this 75th anniversary livery still on, bolting on the mediums, so it'll be a long stint on those mediums possible, because Gaz MC has done it, and he'll be probably hoping for a pair of softs at the end. As he comes out the pits,
definitely.
Has Gaz MC done enough to retain position? I think he has. Yes. And OS falls behind Ganja, so he'll have to battle through Ganja.
I think Ganja might be pitting shortly though. 12 lap old softs, I think he might be going shortly.
Yeah, definitely. I think around lap 8-9, that's where we start to see OS Degrees' pace fall away, and OS Degrees already right on the back of Ganja. Now, the angle was a bit deceiving there. He's probably got 5 tenths or so to close down, but he could build a bit of heat in those tyres and get through midway through the pack.
Yeah, definitely. Gaz is only 1 lap old hards, and he's already pulled out 3 seconds on Ganja. So it's the softs. I think they're dead.
But Ganja running well on the points in the Alfa Romeos in only his 3rd race in the SRL-100, reserving once again. The SRL-50 driver, I believe he's in the Alfa Romeo now for the SRL-50, or at least he has to be moved to it. But I think OS Degrees has gone already up the inside, and Ganja isn't going to fight it too much, knowing that his fight isn't with those lead cars, but has done a little bit of a job for his brother, because OS Degrees can go close down that time at the front, and I wonder when other cars will start to think about putting AJ Sinden 11 laps down on those hard tyres. I think they'll run for another 5 or 10 laps, these hard tyres. I think they'll try and leave it as late as possible, these hard runners.
Yeah, I think so. That's another 3 seconds for IBN, sorry, on the penalties, so that's up to 15 seconds now.
15 seconds. What's the other penalties?
15 seconds. So the other penalties, we've got Temp, who has 3 seconds, currently running in 12th, and Jordy has 8 seconds, running in 14th. IBN is now down to last.
Not many penalties apart from that though. Quite a lot of clean races.
Yeah, everyone else penalty free.
So Alex Trent G, he's had a remarkably quiet race actually, in 11th position. He's a second down on Joker, and Alex Trent G's got a lot of pace, but just not seeming to extract it in the races. He qualified 3rd around China, but went immediately off at turn 1. So looking for a bit of pace to come out and a bit of consistency to come out for him. Just doesn't seem to get quite the rub of the green all of the time. He did have a good results finish at Monza, but I feel like everyone's good finish was kind of overshadowed by Joker's win. Alpha Integral, he's 3.5 seconds down on his teammate. He is on slightly newer, harder hard, so he should theoretically have better pace. Plus, combine that with the fact that he is under-fueled currently, he should have a lot better pace, but I think he's the only car that's under-fueled, you said, and he should be able to close down that gap to AJ Sinden, but actually AJ Sinden just falling a little bit lap by lap away from Struggs, just under a second loss there to Struggs, who is doing well, just managing, doing what he does best now, just being out in the front of the pack and managing the pace to others.
Yeah, I was just flicking through there to make sure Joker's actually now also showing his red on the fuel, so he's burning through the fuel. So he might have to do a little bit of saving. A VSC will probably be enough for him. And interestingly as well, when I flicked the Joker, Alex went done a little dive bomb down the side of the Joker. There was a little contact but no damage, and Alex Trent did give the position back after 2 corners, so I think he realised he'd done wrong there.
Right, okay,
and corrected himself.
So Temp got through as well there, and just got through Alex when he gave the place back, I presume.
Yes, I think so. I think that's what's happened there. So he done the right thing.
Good for him. Earth Degrees, he's not closing down massively on Gaz MC. He does have those better medium compound tyres from Gaz MC. The thing is, right, is if they wait too long for a pair of hards, then those medium runners could just die for a pair of softs anyway. And everyone could just go onto a pair of softs, and it kind of nullifies. I mean, is that a problem? I guess it's not. I think softs can go 17 laps at a push, although the mediums will be better for those final 7 laps. But I wonder if a few people would just dive onto softs. If we had a safety car about lap 40, I think if we'd see a few people pit.
Yeah, I think so. I think they'd maybe take a chance on softs as well if they've got a fresh set. Because you would get 2 laps, maybe 3 under safety.
So OS Degrees setting the fastest lap of the race, a 1:42.284. So as I said, he's not closing down the gap on Gaz MC quite. He has started to close it down now. He's used that as a bit of impetus to catch up and setting some good lap times. Hopefully not burn too much ERS in catching up, because he'll need that to pass. Gaz MC running quite low on the ERS, and OS Degrees within touching distance of being within DRS range now. And Temp has got
he's closed
Joker.
almost a second there.
Temp's got Joker into turn 1.
Yeah, OS's mediums are really turned on now, I think. That's a second he's closed in just under a lap. Either that or Gaz has made a little mistake.
Gaz is being held up a little bit by Geary and Tor in front, so that could be something to do with it. Geary and Tor running in 5th thanks to the pit stops and being clogged up.
32 lap of hards as well, so yeah, that's probably what it was.
You expect these cars to get by him quite quickly as they go into turn 14. Not close enough there, but will have perfect opportunity into turn 1 or maybe turn 7. If he waits that long, Geary on Tour struggling around on those hards, and they have to get past them quickly, because actually to make this strategy work, the larger undercut and look for that track position, you've got to be building up the time quickly, and Struggs is doing everything perfectly and out in the front of the race and building a nice gap. I think it's about 24 seconds the pit time loss here during racing conditions. And he comes up to the first corner, and the difference in speed is dramatic, and the turn by turn and the job's done. Keeps it just in the white lines. I think there's a yellow flag in sector 3.
Yeah, Ganja seems to have spun out there. He's just rejoined. No one round him, which is good.
And he's heading to the pits.
And he's pitting.
OS Degrees in that melee has got past Geary on Tour as well, but doesn't have DOS to Gaz MC in front, so could be under pressure from Gaz MC. I think Gaz MC is not going to get involved. Alex Trent G has crashed out. There's a collision for Alex Trent G at the final corner. He is stricken at the final corner into the wall. He's off the racing line, which is most of the way how it's detected. But McLeod has gone on for a position on Geordie, and doesn't get that done. But yeah, not a safety car, and it's been cleared up. So green flag racing returns. I don't know how he crashed out, but he seemed to crash out in the runoff. As we have 14 runners left in this race, IBN at the back of the field, he'd be absolutely desperate for a safety car right now, because it's not too far behind, and there is Struggs. I mean, Struggs will pit soon, and if IBN can keep on the black stuff, then he should have superior pace on those soft tyres. But he's absolutely crying out for a safety car right now to stop him from the race-ending death of being lapped.
Yeah. It's about time they fixed that rule into the game, but I guess it must be too hard for them to code, because it would greatly improve the game if it was there.
Give them some time. They've only been doing F1 games for 12 years, so give them a little bit of time.
Another 10 or so.
Yeah, another 10 or so, and we'll get realistic unlapping of. It is so frustrating. It is so frustrating. I mean, games like. There are games that do it, like in simulators. So IndyCar, I think iRacing, there's the lucky dog rule. So only one car you can actually unlap in IndyCar, and it's the first of those lapped cars that can get back onto the lead lap. But yeah, it is frustrating.
Yeah.
It's a shame they didn't put in a Michael Massey mode where you could just make up the rules as you go along.
Just make the rules. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, maybe one day we'll get a big company making the Formula One games, and then they'll do it.
I mean, I think the people who made Successor Corsa were meant to take it on, but then F1 stipulated it must be a yearly title, and they were like, no way, we can't do that. So
yeah,
it's a shame. I think a set of Corso model could quite work out because Competizione, they just do DLC for each year, right? And I think that could work quite well. You know, a pack of cars for each year and some small reg changes, tweaking of the game. It would work out, but they wanted a fresh title every year because money and all that.
So
cash is king.
60 quid. Exactly, they want 60 quid every year. So.
They do. That's exactly it. it. Anyway, back from slagging off Codemasters and FOM and all of the people that.
Yeah, so OS has got his gap to the lead down to 27 seconds, so not too far off what he needs to be to undercut Shrugs.
Yes.
But he's still off it though, which is the main thing for Shrugs. So yeah, he's going to come out in third when they all pit as it stands.
That's a good observation there. GazMC also. So is he ahead of AJ Sinden then on track?
He will be ahead of AJ.
Right.
AJ is only 13 seconds in front of OS on track.
So the thing is for OS Degrees is he's using up a lot of ERS to stay in that gap. So that means he can't deploy a burst of it to break past that barrier into the DRS.
Yeah, and he's really pushing. He's really pushing to try and get past Gaz, which is why he has very little ERS left. He knows, I think, he needs to get by him. And soon, because obviously he's on mid-jumps and Gaz is on halves, so he needs to get in front and take a lead.
GazMC having a nice race here. I don't want to jinx it, but it does seem very much error-free so far. Hasn't put a foot wrong and just able to keep himself 100 points on the course for a second position as things stand. And, could be a bit of a DRS train at the end. Of course, Alpha Integral has to do some fuel saving. Joker quite far down the field, he has to do some fuel saving, so that comes into play also. So could be on route for a podium position here.
Yep, I agree, definitely. It's looking good for a second place as it stands.
One of few drivers to actually start on the medium tyre as well in the leading packs.
Interestingly, as I mentioned, the gap, it is coming down. It's now only 26 seconds to OS from Struggs and only 25.5 to Gaz. So Gaz take the lead.
Yes, Williams and Struggs may need to react quite soon. Actually, if you look to the gap from Fade to GazMC is only 4.5 seconds. So maybe a bit of teamwork could be deployed and to leave Fade out a little bit longer to help build that gap. Of course, we don't want to see Perez scenes of Abu Dhabi 21, but could be used as a bit of a cork in the bottle to keep GazMC behind, because he is in danger of taking the lead.
Potentially they are closing that gap at roughly a second to a second and a half a lap, I would say. So I think a lap and a half and they'll be in the undercut territory.
I think the big thing here is that those cars in front will look to hope to have a safety car. But if that happens, these two cars could think, we'll risk it on a pair of softs to the end, because they have a gap to the car behind Vugriff, 88.
Yep.
So I think OS Degrees not fighting GazMC here is okay. It's okay, I think. I wonder if it'd be better for GazMC to let OS Degrees behind and try and cling on to his coattails, because he knows his tyres will come good towards the end of the race, but equally track position is king, so he's closing down the gap. Whether OS Degrees would have a bit better pace at this time and be able to cling on to the DRS, who knows, but GazMC choosing to stick to track position, which is a good strategy, but he's not fighting too hard to keep. They're both fighting really hard, not with each other, but with the tracks to extract.
They're definitely not fighting as hard. The gap to Struggs isn't coming down as quickly as it was a lap ago. So, but it is still coming down.
Strux has responded, but OS Degrees in a good position to go for an overtake here. He puts it too wide at turn 6, and OS Degrees has decided enough, and gets through needle through a, I don't know, not through a haystack, but through a very thin gap there. Threads the needle, I think it's the word, the phrase I was looking for.
In the eye of a needle, that's it.
Yeah, and he gets through. So now let's see what pace OS Degrees have. Let's see if Gaz MC can stick with OS Degrees on that medium compound tyre, use him as a way to build a gap to the cars in front. And they're only 3.5 seconds away from Fade now, so they're coming up to the back of him very quickly. They've gone super long on those hards. I think, you know, sometime around lap 40 is when I expect to see them to pit.
Yeah, I think so. I think that overtake there by OS, he just had far superior traction out that corner compared to Gaz, and you took advantage of that in the DRS and ERS.
So IBM is right behind Joker, going through the first 1, 2, 3 corners, battle for 12th position, and he just goes around the outside of Joker and trying to, is there a bit of contact? There is no, yes, I don't know. So IBM on these soft tyres. Actually, somehow Joker has DRS here down the main straight. I don't think that's worked out battling for IBM here. He's going to get stuck behind for a few more corners, but IBM he's getting out of the way. Blue flags for Strux behind. So Strux will be losing a bit of time here to these blue flagged runners who were fighting. And Strux, IBM will try and maybe use Strux as a way to get past Joker here. Joker will have to give this position up very soon. He's probably been given 4 or 5 blue flag warnings, and Joker gets out the way at the exit of turn 13, and IBM just thinks, thank you very much, outside, at least inside of you, he'll have DRS, but Joker has a much better drive, and that didn't quite work out for IBM how he expected it to, but has a much better drive through 14. That will be the inside of 15 and 16, but again, Joker just having better drive when it really matters, and somehow I think Ben hasn't realised how long he's left DRS on, and makes contact with the wall. As that is front wing end plate gone. It doesn't look it, but we've had a few stops today when it didn't look like end plates were gone, and he's backed away a little bit here. He looks like he's understeering, looks like he's got a bit of damage. I wonder if he'll bring into pits. He does. So that battling there did not work out in his favour. But good battle there, and Alpha Integral now in the meantime is caught up with his teammate. Will there be any team orders? They are quite close in the championship, but probably eyeing up the constructors totally would be a better view. So letting Alpha Integral by, he has faster race pace, maybe a good strategy for Red Bull, but I'm sure AJS Inden has sights on 3rd position in the championship, and he certainly doesn't look to be throwing himself out of the way, does he?
No, he doesn't. And just looking back at the times as well, OS is within 23.5 seconds of Strux now. So he might get track position when Strux pits. But he does have Fade directly in front of him now, so he may start to lose time. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of laps.
So Earth Degrees looking at the earliest available opportunity to catch up with Fade. These two drivers had contact earlier on in the race, so I'm sure Fade would like a bit of payback for that. If he feels like OS Degrees did wrong, I'm sure OS Degrees feels like Fade did wrong. It was one of those kind of incidents where it was up in the air, and OS Degrees looking, a little bit of hesitation there, and I think it felt like Fade was drifting left, but OS Degrees also want to go left, but he'll have better drive through turn 13 here, and a DRS chance. Not usually an overtaking opportunities, but with this greater offset, better drive, does he try and make an opportunity? Doesn't get the gap closed down, but maybe thinks about the lunge. Certainly looks down the inside, trying to put the pressure on, and Fade, of course, slowing him down and slowing down his chances of taking the lead of the race after the Strux pits for the medium tyres. Obviously, those medium tyres of Strux will have superior life, and he's built a gap of about 18 seconds to AGS Inden. So these two Red Bulls are working together, but not giving places. Ganja gets a 3-second time penalty, and OS Degrees looking for any opportunity, and Fade goes into the pit lane. That will give OS Degrees a chance to go on to the medium. It will give Fade a chance to go on the medium tyres, and OS Degrees a burst of DRS. Thanks for the follow, Keji. Really appreciate that. you got the Maldonado winning GIF, if that's appreciated by you. But OS Degrees into 4th position, and now closing up. He's only, what is that? Is that 23 seconds, 24 seconds? He's lose a bit of time overall through that?
It does 23.5 seconds, so not much in it,
So, Keji says, I don't know why I wasn't following. I don't know why you are following. That's the opposite. So, OS Degrees, no, we appreciate it. Don't unfollow. OS Degrees is now in the position to close down on the race lead, and I think it is about 24 seconds the offset here. Not the biggest offset in the world, but not the least. I think you have some tracks where it's only 19 seconds, and some tracks where it's upwards of kind of 28, 26, 28, something like that. But Struggs, I think, is now looking for a safety car, and we have the gap to lead. It's just come down by about 3/10 there, hasn't it? So it is coming down.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually down. Yeah, it has 3/10. It's actually 23.1. So
Gaz MC has fallen a bit off the back of OS Degrees here as well, so not ideal for him as we go through the Aston Martin view through the final few corners. Turn 21 and 22 and 23 to finish the lap. He's lapping just a little bit slower than OS Degrees and falling behind, but OS Degrees has dropped and gained another 5/10 over that half a lap, so the gap's coming down. Oh, and AJ Sinden hits pit. I missed that. AJ Sinden's pit. So
yep, AJ pitted. It's coming out in 5th. I think
he comes out in front of Fade. I think he's had to respond to Fade there in the undercut.
Yeah,
just flirting with the white line just a little bit there, and Fade.
Only 3 seconds between them.
Fade will have much warmer mediums on this lap, but by the time he catches up, I think AJ Sinden will have warmed his tyres up, and there'll be a lap fresher. So every little helps for AJ. But Alpha Integral is now released to set his time, and I'm sure he'll be coming into the pits this lap. And Gideon Tor gets a 3-second penalty, but Struggs, the gap is come down to about 22 seconds. So I wonder if Struggs here will pit and try to cover off OS Degrees as much as possible. There is a yellow flag through sectors 2 and 3 at turn 14. It's been cleared up. Struggs doesn't pit. Alpha Integral coming through the final few corners, turn 18 and 19, where we saw that big collision on Friday between Skull. Oh, he loses it! He loses it in the tunnel. He loses it, and his car is stationary. He does the right thing by keeping. Oh no! But he just backs into Geordie a bit early. I think Geordie would have been very scared there. He just backed into Geordie just a little bit. I thought he was waiting perfectly, but maybe felt the reason to pit. And will he pit? I think he will pit. He just went and sent it one lap too long, and all that time he may lose through the pits to Fade here, and he gets it stopped in time, but that was disaster for Alpha.
Yeah, I just missed that, unfortunately. My battery and my controllers just run out, so I'm going to have to quickly change them because I've got the message on my screen, so I can't see anything.
So yeah, AJ Sinden and Fade are both through on Alpha Integral. Alpha Integral trying to extract everything out of the lap, and Fade sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And Alpha Integral is, he's lost 9 seconds, and Rugriff on 16 lap old mediums gets past Alpha Integral, so he's lost a whole chunk of time now, Alpha. All that hard work thrown down the bin at turn 19, and the exit of turn 18 just loose on traction through there. Really, his heart had expired, but somehow Struggs remains out there. 42 laps of hard tyre action. Hopefully he won't befall the same treatment as Alpha Integral. Keeps it on the straight and narrow through this final sector. That gap is now down to 21.5. So it'll be really interesting to see when does Struggs pit. Is it this lap? No, he stays out for another lap. Man's just on a mission to do a one stopper and go to softs at the end. Maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe he's thinking.
Yeah, I think it is. It must be.
18 laps would make it to the end on softs. They'd be absolutely dreadful. But he'd keep track position if there was a safety car. And I think OS Degrees would keep track position to AJ, certainly, if there was a safety car, so I see those going on a pair of softs, and a lot of the runners going on softs, to be honest. But Fade is a second and a half behind AJ. AJ running so well all race, just one small mistake at 22 and 23. This corner we're going through now. Spinning there on the hard tyres after a safety car restart. Really, really struggling in a 140.306 for AJ Sinden. So that's the fastest lap of the race now. And looked to close down that gap ahead, but that undercut has worked really nicely for OS Degrees and Gaz MC. They've pulled out a gap about 19 seconds on the cars around them, and OS Degrees certainly really is in the window to take position. If only we had the overtake chance through the pits graphic from AWS, and it would actually be useful in the game, because the statistics are actual data rather than made up fucking airy fairy data that they rely on in the race, which is usually complete nonsense. But AJ Sinden is closing down the gap considerably to Struggs as well. So Struggs going to be losing a lot of time, but I'm sure Struggs just waiting to go on those softs. Let's go aboard. Every time he goes around the pits and passes the pit line, I think, no, he's not going to do another lap. He's not going to do another lap. And he is coming into the pits this lap. So this is race critical. Make sure he gets it stopped on time. He goes in very slowly. Very slowly. He does not want to get any kind of penalty. Wants to maximise points against his teammate, his championship rival, and OS Degrees, who is down in some position. They also need to get 34 points.
He's just come round the last corner on the straight now.
So OS Degrees does take him, and does Gaz MC take him as well? Because that makes it doubly hard. He does, and he is onto a fresh pair of mediums for Struggs. So I think crucially, OS Degrees now, if there's a safety car, could pit for a pair of softs and put himself in a position where cars behind him have to pit as well and go on softs and protect from that. But OS Degrees now leading the race. Can he shake those gremlins and finally win his first feature race of the SRL-100 Season 2? He won quite a few last year and battled all the way to the end with Z-Man at Austria and just missed out, finishing runner-up to your teammate, Z-Man. And he's not been quite as consistent this year. I think focus is elsewhere, but he has come back to it slowly and slowly. And now he's in the lead of this Singapore Grand Prix with just 16 laps to go. But of course, Struggs has the much fresher mediums. So has every chance to close up this gap. And the bit will be in his teeth. But speaking to him after the end of some of the races recently, he said, psychologically, I'd much rather leave the chasing to others, but he's felt like he needs to chase this Grand Prix win. He needs to do it. He needs to prove the point after falling down the order once or twice in this race, and now down to third position after those pit stops, but with a greater offset of time advantage, and it's going to be an absolutely blistering lap time that he does straight out the box. The box obviously won't be a good lap time this time because he left the pits, but he's already warmed those tyres up, and that gap has already started to come down. 8 seconds has already come down a second, and that would be enough for Struggs to catch up. Would it be enough for overtake? I'm not too sure, but OS Degrees now needs to conserve as much EOS because he knows he has a battle coming in the future. IBN, he had a 3-second penalty there. Temp, he's pitted for a pair of mediums. He's into 10th position. I think OS Degrees will be hoping for a last lap chance to missing a good fade and AJ fight. Oh, maybe I am. Yeah, thanks Chucks. Thanks Skull. I am missing a good AJ and fade fight as fade comes through turn 7. Tries to make an overtake, tries to go on the outside. AGS Sinden goes defensive and just isn't room on the outside to overtake there. Thanks to the tip off Skull that I was missing that fight. If only you could do that with the race director in real life. And AGS Sinden is in 4th position, battling very hard to keep Fade behind. Fade has closed down on those medium tyres. And let's switch back to interval because that will give me the better idea of where overtaking is being done. Giri on tour seemed to be off the track there, and where's Rugriff? Rugriff takes that position again. I'm not quite sure. He seemed quite off the track in that scrap there, but he seems to have got the move done. Giri on tour up into 7th position, but did seem quite off the track. But Alpha Integral and 15 seconds behind the car of Fade, and Fade right behind AJ, desperate to get by. AJ putting his car exactly where he needs to, and now running very similar levels of ERS. So, clubs the inside of turn 18. It's been quite a pinch point this race. Hopefully that wouldn't have been any kind of problem there. Strugs gets a 1:39.410 and has closed down massively that gap. It was 8 seconds last lap. I think he's closed it down by about 4 seconds. Absolutely bit between his teeth rather, and is going to close that down. I'll cling on to this battle for just a few more corners, but I think Strugs are going to get Gaz MC very soon. AJ just a bit loose out of traction of turn 3, sorry, and that will make him very, very open to attack through turn 7, but the ERS is not great for either driver, so the overdrive is not going to be great, and AJ should be able to just go defensive and serve Fade up the but Fade does go up the inside. He does go to the inside and he does get it done. I think AJ's had to leave him space. A lot of late lunges down the inside. A lot of respect given. But Strugs now, his teammate of Fade, as he gets into 4th place, Strugs wants to get into 2nd place and will have the first opportunity to do so into turn 14. The DRS will pop open, and then it's only 2.5 seconds down the road to the race lead of OS Degrees. We're saying to OS Degrees, can he win the race? It looks unlikely at this moment, doesn't it, Kev?
Yeah, I think so. I think if Strugs can get this move done in a even 2 laps time, I think Strugs will be on the back of OS pretty quickly. 15 laps, newer, fresher mediums as well. So, yeah, advantage Strugs, I think.
So, Gaz MC on course for a podium position here. I think his first podium position in the league. I wonder how much he'll value that, or how much he'll value 2nd, and how much he'll defend. But you can see the traction difference. I think the overtake will be done into turn 1, to be honest, and I think it is, as there's a car coming out the pits off slowly, getting out the way. I think it's McLeod not coming out the pits. He must have been going slowly, but now OS Degrees is caught up by a bit of blue flags. It will give him DRS, but it will slow him down just a little bit as he has to think about what the cars ahead are doing, and he's hoping to get by up the inside. I think it's Joker who does need to get out of the way, and he gets out of the way very late on the straight there at the braking zone. So it does compromise the turning for OS Degrees a little bit there. So that will be a little bit of time lost. As Fade, on soft tyres, is out of the race. He's out of the race. And I feel like that's a retirement, because he's retired in the pits. Fade is retired in the pits. So that's... the constructors will not be won here at Singapore. But that is at least a big points haul for Strugs this race. Possibly 25 points. And we could have Strugs in the booth of us at the end of the race again. As Strugs closes down on OS Degrees, only 5 tenths, and has still a big chunk of ERS despite carving through those last few laps. And he'll be desperate to get by OS Degrees. OS Degrees will be absolutely desperate to get by him. But, I mean, Fade's car is still just trundling along on the circuit, so I have no idea what happened there. But Strugs and OS Degrees, this could be a fight. Oh, is OS Degrees just going to let this go and think Ferrari points are all that matters at this point in time? Especially with that fight with AJ Sinden coming up. AJ Sinden's having a bit of form. But 12 laps left here. It's unlikely he'd be able to hold him off for that long. As they go through turn 3, and through turn 4. The right-hander of turn 5, and it looks all but done. 2 tenths is the gap. OS Degrees will try to defend. He'll try to do everything he can. He looks like he's going to go down the outside, but can't cling on. And Strugs gets the move done. Superior pace there, and that looks to be race done and over. With 11 laps to go.
Yeah, it looks like it. Can't see a way back now. Even a safety car. Well, that's the only thing. Maybe a safety car if we've got fresh softs. It would be another battle.
Yeah, so OS Degrees will be looking backwards here. So Gaz MC, he's built a nice gap over Gaz MC. He's got about 18 seconds to AJ Sinden. Where is Fade? Why is Fade just trundling along really slowly on the track?
Yeah, I know. I'm watching that. I don't know what's going on there.
Let's have a look at one of the cars coming through. It would be Strugs, his teammate.
Strugs, yeah.
Who will be coming across him next, and that could cause an absolute havoc for him inadvertently. And sometimes I think it's better to retire on track than in the pit lane. But his AI is just running along, and he's causing absolute havoc for the cars behind. And is he going to go into the pit lane? Has he gone into the pit?
Yeah, it's just pulled into the pit.
He's pulled into the pit. So let's hope that he stays in the pits, because that was almost absolute chaos through turns.
Yeah, I don't know.
20 and 21.
I didn't pull off into one of the holes in the wall, because usually it pulls off, but for some reason
it's gone all the
didn't
way
do it on
around.
the run off this time.
But didn't cost Struggs or Screws too much time on the cars behind. Probably cost Gaz MC the most, if anything, because it looked like it was trying to come into bits. But it's coming out again. It's coming out again. Hopefully now it will peel into a hole in the wall. But I really don't think it does. This has turned into like bird watching, but with a car that's retired.
It's just glitched, hasn't it?
Yeah, Fade is just...
Now has it
It
stopped?
looks like, so it looks like it has stopped
stopped
there. Right, okay, that's just the strangest thing. The strangest thing. I mean, in the league code of conduct, it has changed to you should wait for a gap in traffic and then retire, because it does just go out of the pits and cause an absolute calamity, a whole lap of calamity there that everyone had to go through. But that is what it is, I guess. As we have Struggs leading the race, 3-second gap he's built. OS Degrees and Gaz MC trying to hold off AGS behind, and I think they are. AGS and Alpha Integral picking up some decent points for Red Bull here, but I think they were expecting more from this race. AGS and certainly did have that little mistake, and it's important to remember that Struggs probably has a bit of a penalty coming because of that incident through turn 1, and I wonder if Fade won't report it so his teammate doesn't lose time, but I think I'll definitely be reporting it either way, just because there was contact, and putting that clip in. So I'll be interested to see what Fade says about it and whether he seems it should be raised. It did cost him a few lap times, and I can't imagine that going without some kind of penalty for Struggs. So Struggs will need to build a gap here, but OS Degrees also is in a position where he's had a bit of contact with Fade later on in the race. So I wonder if that will get raised and how that will get deemed, because there was certainly contact with them racing at turn 7. Gaz MC, maybe one of the ones that hasn't had any kind of contact. Gaz MC did scoot up the inside of Fade and OS when they had one of their contacts, and made light weather of it, and making the medium to hard strategy work.
Yeah, just try to have a little quick look at the penalties here as well, see if there's any impact on the race. But I think Gary's got 3 seconds, but he's got a 7-second gap. The only one that might lose a position on track just now is Temp. Actually, no, I take that back, because Ganja also has a penalty. So no impact on penalties as it stands, really.
Right, okay. So I mean, quite penalty. They're still penalties, right? But they're quite penalty free, nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, only 5 people, and 2 of 3 of the people have only got a single penalty, and Jordy's got 2, and Ben's got, well, the less we say about that, the better. Has he got
a Kev appropriate level of penalties?
Yeah, yes, he's got a Kev appropriate level of penalties, like I used to get last year.
Yeah, testing the limits of the penalty system so other people don't have to.
That's it.
So there is a car going slowly, a Alpha Tauri getting out of the way of the leader, Struggs. I think Ben has just sent it into the I will never take the Neil BM, I don't know who you are, but thank you for the follow. IBN has actually pulled over and retired from the race here, so I think trying to do what I suggested. Let's see if it works. He's gone to a rabbit hole. No, it's going to try and come out. No, that's
it stopped.
That's it. Look for the rabbit hole and hit retire, and it works quite nicely. There's the proofing concept. So Ben retiring from the race there. All refused to take the knee for BLMM. Ha ha ha. Unlucky. I will never take the lead. Right, okay. I get what this name is. I will never take the lead for BLM. So BLM. So it's just some kind of stupid, stupid bigoted idiot, basically. So let's get them killed from the chat. Yeah. How do you? There we are. Delete message. There we are. I've deleted it. I don't know if I can ban them, but there we are. Ban that stupid message. Goodbye. And they have been banned from the channel, so we don't want their follow. And we have 7 more laps left. As where are we? So AJ Sinden, he's not really closed down the gap, has he? So I think it's kind of petering out here. Doesn't really seem to be many on-track battles. Of course, 11th for position are Joker. So this could be a bit of a position battle for the final points playing position. But McLeod closing down on Joker. And can he close the gap? Can he get the move done? No. So I mean, he's quite far back. I don't know. Let's look at their tyre differences. The tyre differences hard 35. So he's on quite a lot older hards here, McLeod. So he'd have a lot to get past him, but he does seem to have a bit more pace than Joker. Joker seems to be struggling on pace around here, and it is a valuable point. Neither Alpine or Mercedes have another teammate in the race, so valuable points, even if it's a point nonetheless. You don't know if the constructors' positioning will be decided on by 1 or 2 points. It's very tight in that mid pack. Matusas and the Joker and the Matusas in the Alpine have had very, very good days and mostly low finishes. Joker, of course, winning at Monza. Matusas winning in the wet at Australia. Dramatically in the closing laps for both of them, in fact. And McLeod seems to be just flirting with that DRS zone. See if he can close through first, second and third. OS Degrees now is 7 seconds behind Struggs, but importantly 2.5 seconds behind. Has a gap of 2.5 seconds. Now those hards will start to become better. Sooner or later those mediums will start to feel like dead wood. And we'll see if he can close the gap, GazMC, in the final stages and just nick second position away. But McLeod closing and closing and closing. I just don't think he has enough. And if you look at Joker has a fair chunk of ERS, so it's going to take a moment. So Fade is put in a kind of sad face. I don't know what that's about, but what happened to you, Fade? So we look at GazMC. He's keeping that gap very, very stable in third position. So he'll be looking. I mean, any safety car now will result in soft. I think Alpha Integral seems to have got his fuel under control, but just Joker got his fuel under control. Joker hasn't got his fuel under control. Fade got done over 3 times by 3 different people. ICBA. Okay. So, fair enough. Just put the instance in the channel when it's up after the race. We'll see what happened there. And leading the race early doors, he did get knocked by his teammate Struggs into turn 18 on lap 2. Fighting with OS Degrees in the middle of the race. There was contact there, certainly. I don't know what the third contact was. Was it contact with AJ? Because you did get past AJ into 4th position. And you could, I think would have that been enough to win the Constructors? You need 34 points. So you needed first, and so that would have been enough to get the Constructors. Unless there was more damage or something like that. And you needed to pit again. But the Constructors will, of course, go to Japan next weekend around Suzuka. And you can see that gap closing a little bit, Kev. GazMC is closing that gap down a little bit. 4-second position.
Yeah, he is, definitely. He's under 2 seconds now.
AJ
so start to apply the pressure.
Yeah, Fade saying AJ stuck his nose into the corner under the bridge and I had to go really wide to avoid him and I got damage from it. Right, again. We'll have to see what happened there. But OS agrees potentially with a penalty as his head with Fade, battling with Fade. We'll have to see after the race about that one. Struggs also potentially with a penalty, trying to build a big enough, the biggest gap he can. I mean, I doubt GazMC is going to be able to close it down, but GazMC is closing down the gap to OS degrees nicely, and we still have 6 laps of racing here, or 5 laps even. So that's possible. McLeod has backed off from Joker a little bit. Maybe McLeod trying to save a bit of ARS? No, but Joker definitely has to do some fuel saving at some point. He's still got the red fuel tag next to his name. Geordie also critical on fuel. Flashing red flag. I don't know what that means. But
I think flashing means he won't have enough and has to definitely fuel save.
Okay.
Solid red, I think means you're pushing it.
Right. Okay.
Very, very possible, but you're pushing it.
So Struggs out in front, leading the race. He's gone for adversity. We'll have to ask him if he finishes first. He'll join the commentary booth, and we'll have to ask him what he thinks of his incident with Fade, what happened there, and what happened at the safety car. 2 mistakes he's made that have seemingly gone unpunished, but he's had to work super hard for this win. He works hard for all of them, of course, but this is the longest race of the year, and we're now coming up to an hour and 45-minute race time. It will be under the 2 hours, which would be interesting. I'd love to see if there's actually a countdown for 2 hours programmed in a game. My money is on no, but it's kind of like, do you ever see those YouTube videos which just do random facts on the F1 game? What happens if you go wide here and cut this corner, or etc, 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 etc. I'd like to see what happens if you run the 2 hour limit. Maybe I'll have a go at it one day, but it involves 2 hours of your life and intermediates, right? I guess you could just go in an online lobby and stick it in AI for an hour and 45 minutes and then just drive the final 15 minutes, see what happens. But I guess it isn't programmed to game. But AJ Sinden makes a late stop. He's broken his front wing, so he's changing onto a pair of softs. Now his teammate is coming around the final few corners, so I think AJ Sinden has the gap and maybe is just thinking about going for that fastest lap. Alpha Integral all over the back of the road here, and I think he's just going to get it, but is Alpha Integral going to let his teammate by as they get running up to speed? But he's lost track position to McLeod and Joker, so they'll have to get out of the way pretty pronto. I wonder if McLeod here will decide to use AJ as a bit of a way to get around Joker, much as IBN tried on Joker earlier on in the race. What's the worst that can happen, right?
Yep, exactly. Temp has also just went absolutely flying past the Rugriff and Geary on tour to put himself into 6th. Now he has 3 seconds penalty, so does Geary, but Rugriff has nothing. So Temp's looking to extend the gap to 3 seconds on Geary, and he's only 2/10 off that already to try and keep 6th place.
So McLeod just made a lot of contact with Joker there at turn 8. A lot of contact. He went for a move which wasn't on. So they have become very well acquainted with each other. That's allowed AJ Sinden just to breeze through. But so Temp has a chance. I don't think he's going to close down on AJ Sinden, but do you think he's got... No, he's too far away to close down on anyone, but he just needs to build that gap up, right?
Yeah, totally.
Let's see the penalties. 3 seconds, so he needs to build that gap up by 3 seconds, which I think he's done, right? He's built that gap up.
Yeah, he's got it up to 3.5 as it stands just now, so there's... There's just actually... now it's just come down to almost slap bang on 3 seconds, so AJ is currently sitting in 4th on track.
Yeah.
As it stands.
And AJ Sinden has those soft tyres. So I wonder if he'll ask his teammate to get out of the way.
I think he will, because it is now under a second, so he's absolutely flying.
Those soft tyres working nicely. I mean, ideally here, he'd just get a bit of DRS and his teammate would get out of the way, and this would give him the opportunity to take the fastest lap in the Grand Prix and get that extra point for the team. I think they'll work together here, hopefully. Alpha Integral, will he get out of the way of his teammate? He seems to be giving a bit of a slipstream, and he goes to the inside and pulls out the way, so working together to maximise AJ's chances of getting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. If we check the race director, who holds that fastest lap at the moment, it doesn't actually tell us anyway. Let's, well, it could do if we go in and check Strug's view lap times.
No, you can check the fastest lap. Yeah, 2 seconds. You just changed it from gap.
Oh, yes, right, okay, yeah, checking that. Yeah.
So it's currently Strug's at 139.41.
So that's what we're looking at beating.
AJ he's only 9/10ths of it. The fourth in this lap, so, and he's set purple 2. I missed his first sector, but he's set purple 2.
It was a purple 1, so 9/10ths in the second sector. So as long as he can keep this clean and tidy, he may just nab this away from Strugs. And a point is a point. All is helpful. Hasn't lost any kind of position on track, so was the free car to go and grab that point. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with the fastest lap point, is it usually just goes to the person who can pit and go for it, right? Not every day, but it does happen sometimes. So 138.8. I wonder if Strugs at any point will try to respond and take a 139. I don't know what he's lapping at the moment, Strugs, but as he comes through the final few corners, we'll check what his last lap time is. But probably just more concerned on taking the 25 points, and of course won't have the gap to.
So whilst we were watching that as well, Gary on tour has been overtaken by the Griffin track, so looking like Haas are going to finish in 8th place today.
Yeah, the long way behind to Ganja, but Ganja will be picking up his first points as long as he doesn't pick up too many penalties. And he does have 6 seconds worth of penalties, but he does have a massive gap.
18 gap.
Yeah,
yes, I think he's fine.
Yeah, just bring this home. This will be his first points. And let's see, that's to Joker, who's in 10th position. And McLeod made a bit of a dive on Joker. I think it was just exasperated dive. He really wanted to make that move, get it done. Maybe feels like he's had better pace, but on those older tyres, it's hard to get it done. And there was a yellow flag there through sector 2, but that's just disappeared around where Joker was, so maybe a small mistake for Joker. As Strugs is on another lap and just building that pace. I wonder, he won't be able to pit and take fastest lap here, so I think that's probably gone to AJ Sinden. But Gaz MC, look at Gaz MC, he's only 6/10ths behind OS Degrees. OS Degrees on 30 lap old mediums, really starting to feel the pain and suffering of those medium tyres, and why those other runners went so long on those hards. Yes, it gave him a lot of potential to overtake the cars in front and gave him the track lead, but it has cost him dearly here, and he was fighting for first only 10 laps ago. Now he's 16 seconds off first place, as there's a yellow flag as they're coming towards us.
Gary went into the runoff.
Gary's gone into the runoff. Alright, okay, so Ganja, who has 6 seconds worth of penalties, is just in front of Gary on tour, but Gary on tour also has the penalties, so Ganja may be picking up an extra few points here that he didn't think he was going to do. But let's see if Gaz MC risks it all, and I think Gary's just going to try and get out of the way of this leading pack. Very nice indeed for him to do that, and Gaz MC is trying everything within his power to close down this gap, but really doesn't have the ERS to burn, so he needs to be closer than this. He needs to be much closer, and let's see the traction out of this corner. Does he have what it takes? I think it's just a little bit too late. 1 or 2 more laps and Gaz MC would probably get OS here, but just didn't have the ERS when it matters. Full deployment almost clipping at the end of the straight for Gaz MC, as we keep an eye on Strugs on the final lap of this 61 lap grueling race. Only 12 finishes as it stands, IBN being the last one to DNF, and I think that was a fair few laps ago. Geary's made another mistake, so really falling far backwards.
He's got damage, definitely. He's struggling to take the corners.
So we'll watch this run. We'll watch if Gaz MC can do anything into turn 14 miraculous. He'll have DRS, he'll have a bit of ERS, but that traction is just too great for how short a run it is. We'll have to switch to Struggs and have to watch him go around the final few corners. I'm saying have to like it's a real pain in the arse, but actually it's all fine. And he runs through the final few laps and just dominates, really. He ended up dominating it and takes another 25 points. Not the fastest lap, not the Grand Chelem this weekend, but a very good result nonetheless. I'm sure he'll care for naught about those statistics, and it's another win for him this season. He's been absolutely dominant. OS Degrees comes around the final corner and just about holds off Gaz MC for second place. Obviously a question mark over his head with his instant with Fade. Gaz MC in third. AJ Sinden taking that fastest lap right at the last, pitting into a free zone. Only Alpha Integral he had to retake, who was his teammate. And if you actually look, Temper's caught up to the back of Alpha Integral. So what are their penalties? Their penalties are both 3 seconds, so this really does matter. Temper's caught right up to the back of Alpha Integral here and could maybe just nip ahead. Alpha Integral, AJ Sinden comes through the final few corners to take 4th position, but can Alpha Integral cling on for 5th position here? We will see. It's going to be difficult to overtake, but Temper's definitely applying the pressure and will look for any little mistake that Alpha will make, but Alpha just needs to keep it on the correct part of the track. AJ Sinden takes 4th place and Alpha Integral just does enough. Temp tries to go side by side, but it's by a 1/10 of a second. Temp goes into 6th position. Rugriff is in a bit of traffic here, but traffic with lapped cars, and McLeod does get out of the way. And does he give the place to Geordie? I guess it doesn't matter too much, as Geordie does have a 6-second penalty, but does just lose a little bit of a position on track there. Rugriff gets 7th position. Ganja's finished in 8th. Geary's finished in 9th, and Joker in 10th position. Congratulations Ganja on his first points, and congratulations Struggs on yet another win. Let's see if he will want to join the commentary box. I'll just send him a quick message. Do you want to be our very own DC and ask him Scottish related questions?
Scottish related questions?
I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So I'll ask him if he wants to jump in the comms. He has the last 2 weeks, but he may be absolutely exhausted after that race as he picks up another race win in the league. And let's just make sure that all of the instants, etc. are saved. And I may just need to go in and disable my webcam so we can actually see what's important. So drivers, let's see the instants, let's see them rack up. There's quite a few, and we'll have to go through that when we can. There's quite a few there, and pit stops too. So let's have a look at pit stops just so we have that all on record, and I'll take a clip and we'll just check if Levi does want to jump in. So I'll move Levi over into commentary. Ugh.
No, he came in there and disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was strange. I'll have
Probably
to...
saw I was here and thought, we'll just leave it.
So, yeah, I'm just going to make sure I've got the clip sorted properly. And interesting that I kicked him out. Usually, the last couple of weeks I've just been able to move him in, and it's worked. And I'll just move him in again. Move to commentary. Let's try that again. Oh no, it just kicks him out again. So, having some technical issue here. I don't know if that's working. It's immediately kicking him. Maybe I should create a commentary role in the future. I wish I could just raid general chat, but it's actually only set up to record Actually, we could just raid general in a second, but other people could go in there, I guess. So it seems to not be working. So we'll probably have to skip that discussion. But I guess I'll go over to you, to who's been driver of the day. Your driver of the day.
My driver of the day. I mean, it probably have to be Struggs, I think, doesn't it? You know, he's came from the back. He's had the incident with the Williams, spun out, recovered really well. Went super long on the hards. I can't remember exactly how many laps it was now. It was about 42, wasn't it? 42, 43. Yeah, so for me, I think Struggs gets the driver of the day for me.
Yep, right. Okay, so that'll be the end of the broadcast. But I hope you've enjoyed listening. And if it's your first time viewing along, please drop us a follow, unless you're a bigoted idiot. And appreciate having you along. So thanks very much for joining the commentary booth there, Kev.
No worries, a pleasure, as always.
Awesome. Right, okay, so this has been an SRL production. Thanks for watching.